All right, gentlemen, we live. We got a very big show tonight. Who's the guy that used to say a really big show tonight? Y'all remember who that was? What was that guy's name? Y'all old enough to remember, I think. I'm
not. Like I should have had you had that Jeezy put on for your city ready.
Hey, no, that belonged to somebody else.
Hey, Russ, you gonna be ready? You gonna be ready?
Jumping up in here, Coach.
You gonna be ready later on?
The Rattlers are jumping up in here, man. They coming in. All right. Give them a few more seconds. Well, with no further ado, you're listening to the HBCU Coaches Corner, hosted by myself, Rocky Miller, along with the Rattler, Stephen Campbell, and the man you all came to see, the man with all the knowledge, all the experience, and the wizard of offense, none other than Johnny Cole.
Thank you.
But before we started with our show, you know we got to ask, Coach, how you doing?
Man, I'm great, Coach, man, always. You know, these Tuesdays, they rolling around faster than you can think, but you know, this is a big show tonight. I think this thing is getting bigger, guys. You just don't know. People want to be on our show. I want to thank our audience, you know, for putting it out there and continue to put out there and make sure that you hit that subscribe button and get on this show, man, because we want to take this thing on the road, and that's one of our goals that we're building.
All right, Mr. Campbell, I don't even have to ask how you doing, but I'll ask anyway. How you doing?
First of all, let me start off. I attended the six-time #1 public HBCU, Florida A&M University, just announced by U.S. News and World Report. See, I had the 5 times right here, so I got to add another one. Y'all see that? See, that's 5 times. Now it's 6 times. So this is a great day for Florida A&M. It's even greater because, Coach, you know what? This is the HBCU Coaches Corner.
Yes, sir.
And you know we bring people that are movers and shakers, not only coaches, but we bring on people that actually hire coaches, Coach. You know that?
That's right, right? Because later on, we're going to have our special guest, Al Wash.
There you go. So, Coach, I'm super excited to bring on somebody that I've known for 30-plus years, that the Rattler Nation is super excited about coming home. She is Angela Suggs. I'm going to read her official title, Vice President and Director of Athletics at Florida A&M University. Our 19th, and she's going to tell you why 19 is special to her, Athletic Director of Florida A&M University.
Good evening, guys.
How you doing, Miss Suggs?
I am well.
We're so proud. We're so proud. We know everything about you. I don't even know why we interviewing. She's great. All right, show's over.
I'm super excited to be here tonight, and so thank you all of you for joining us that are online, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
AD Suggs, I got to start off by saying this. I've heard your name mentioned probably no less than 40 times the last 2 years. I never had the pleasure of meeting you, and tonight is a very delightful experience to meet you. And I can honestly say it's all been, each and every time your name's been mentioned, you've been getting glowing reviews. And so I'm just so excited to meet you and have you on the show. If it was up to other people, you would have been on here last year. But that didn't work out that way. But I'm glad you're on here right now. Like you said in your press conference, everything is in the right time. That's and right. I'm so happy to have you on the show. There's so many things that we could ask you in this moment. All right. But I want to ask you this question. What experience do you have that has uniquely prepared you to be the 19th AD at Florida A&M University?
That's a great question. In that, I would say the diversity of experiences, right, that I've had. Of course, it goes without saying that I do love the institution, but Mother FAMU requires more than just love as it relates to the business of intercollegiate athletics, the enterprise, if you will. Definitely was blessed. You had Coach Bill Hayes on the show a couple of weeks ago. I watched that. I think I've watched it about 3 times actually, because it was just so insightful. And I am a fan of the show. But I bring up Coach Hayes because he gave me the opportunity in 2009 to come and be a part of the team. I'd had some other experiences working in sports and got my start in Joe Robbie Stadium down in Miami when it was Joe Robbie Stadium. We were going through the renewal of club seats and suites. And I came on board as a part of that team and grew, learned a lot there. Because at the time, of course, Mr. Heisinger owned the stadium. He owned the Dolphins. He owned the Miami Marlins. He owned the Florida Panthers. He didn't own the Miami Heat, but he did own the management company and the water company that was in the old Miami arena. So it was a little bit different being a part of that professional sports franchise organization, because it was somewhat like a college setup, because we're able to experience different sports, concerts and the like, and to be involved in a number of events that would take place. And so being able to see what the landscape guys were doing with grounds crew, to kind of see what the ticket office was doing. I was actually working there the year that FAMU played Miami, and it rained in the 90s, and we wouldn't let the band take the field. So was there for that. It talked to the ticket office, and they're like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" I said, "But we got through it." But at any rate, coming through that, spent some time actually in the Broward school system. Shout out to Deerfield Beach High, go Bucks. That I was a behavioral specialist, guidance counselor, and also served as a clearinghouse coordinator there. So I worked with high school athletes and high school coaches in terms of getting them prepared to go to college as a guidance counselor and also the clearinghouse coordinator. Fast forward, came back to Tallahassee in 2003 to take care of my dad, who since passed away, and my mom had passed away some years before that. But you know, just kind of waited my time. I called the FAMU Athletics a couple of times. Opportunities just weren't there. But as it would have it, in 2009, I met Coach Hayes, and he brought the 1,000 Strikes program to FAMU, and just had the opportunity to come and join the team to lead that effort. 9.5 years later, left after having served as senior woman administrator, and it was a little different, right? Because I still maintained my external side. So in working with licensing and branding for the university, we saw some significant success there in those times where I, kind of worked to lead those efforts, definitely with the Blue Florida Classic and establishing some marketing initiatives and strategies that we had there. And just really in those 9.5 years, we stayed in the top 5 in attendance from football, in terms of FCS, not just HBCUs, but all FCS, even during our trying some valley experiences that we had with some challenges that we were able, as I mentioned at the press conference, to be solution focused and results oriented. And so looking at that, 1,000 Strikes helped usher in investing in champions, looked at new revenue streams, turning a patch of grass in the North End Zone Club into an experience that other institutions have now come to model. And as they would come to visit us, the next thing we knew, when we would go to their stadiums, they had something in a corner or in the end zone. But those are our friends. Those are our colleagues, and just happy to share in that way.
Yeah.
So I know it's a long way home, but kind of added a couple of things in there at the same time.
So Doctor, I was about to call you a doctor, not yet, but AD Suggs, I had the experience of being hosted in the end zone space that you mentioned for the SWAC championship. Though it was quite rainy, I found it was a phenomenal experience there. And I'm glad to know that you were a part of making that happen, because that was an experience that I hadn't ever had before at any game. And I thought being on the field, being right there, having a party right there next to the field was a great experience. So, but I'll go ahead and let these other guys ask you whatever they want to ask you. I just wanted to thank you for that, because the hospitality in that particular area was absolutely phenomenal. Thanks to my good brother, Bishop Campbell.
Go ahead, Coach. You go ahead. Coach, go ahead with your question. Go ahead.
I don't know if Coach may not can hear us. He may be having some issue there.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, I'll go ahead. So, and I'll say, AD Suggs, one of the things, as we've heard a lot of people, the enthusiasm, the excitement, but you coming back to the hill and you being a child of Mother FAMU. I want to kind of talk about that, because you told a very beautiful story that, some people, and because it was early in the morning for some people, if you could kind of talk a little bit about that story and the number 19 and why it meant so much to you, because I think that's very important, especially for the Rattlers, especially for my girls in the Beta Alpha Deltas. They're going to really understand what this means, but also how that's important, because we're looking for a bridge builder. I think that's one of the things that I think that you bring to the table, building bridges with the different DSOs and, like I say, the different organizations that funnel into and support athletics. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and also your bridge building that you're going to be doing going forward?
Certainly. Collaboration is key. It's not, we can't do any of this by ourselves. And as it relates to the number 19, if you kind of look at numbers and, they have all of these books on the meaning of different numbers, and the meaning behind number 19, it shows about change, right? It shows about movement, and not necessarily changing, as I mentioned, to someplace different or someplace new, but sometimes it does mean that. And my dad was born in 1919 in Marengo County, Alabama. And so my daddy. And so with that, 1919 has always been something that we move forward with. And when I pledged the Beta Alpha chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, it turns out that my line number was 19. In that, our daughter, who plays softball, she's a freshman at Campbell University, her number during high school was 19. Now that came from, of course, that's my line number and that kind of thing. But then as we went forward, and when I would see the number 19, even when I went to the Florida Sports Foundation, I would literally see the number 19 as that opportunity was manifesting itself. And I have had the best 7 years, learned a lot in those 7 years, but I saw the number 19. Then it started to pop up again. Even after we did go through this process and had these conversations 2 years ago. But as I mentioned, God is all wise and all knowing. And it wasn't meant for me to be the 17th AD or the 18th AD. I just found it really made my heart smile when I realized, and I go back to 17 because Courtney and then Tiffany and Cumming and all that they've shared and brought in. Courtney was the 17th AD, and that's how he was announced. And Tiffany was the 18th AD. I said, God, you are so funny. Are you meaning to tell me that when I got this phone call that literally as we move forward into this, I would be announced as the 19th AD for our alma mater. And it truly is something that is heartwarming and touches my spirit at that.
Can I get in here, guys?
Yeah. That's what we wait. No, we wanted you to go. We wanted you to go next. Absolutely.
I had a stumble and I had to take care of something real quick. Miss Suggs, I've been in your spot before. I got the head coaching job at Texas Southern University, which I'm a two-time graduate, children graduate. Man, I felt I was on top of the world, but yet nervous because for some reason, and I guess I can give you a tidbit, they will look at you different than now you are an athletic director. You no longer Miss Suggs on the outside. You told us about you were happy at number 19. What does it mean to sit in that seat? We already know what it means to Coach Campbell. So what does it mean to sit? Is some I can remember Miss Suggs when I used to walk back from the football games. We had a stadium down from the campus, and I would think about what would I do if I was the guy. You've been in Florida A&M, you love Florida A&M. I know you don't ran this position over in your mind over and over again. Now it's true. Kind of explain that, how you feel, some of the things that you've seen that you would change, and all those good things.
Certainly, and so I'm definitely humbled and honored, but it makes that responsibility so much more, right? Because I now sit in a seat that will create the legacy. It will create the road map, or the road, if you will, the roadway for whatever is to come behind us. And we gotta, it may not always be perfect, right? But we've got to definitely, it's my legacy. It's the legacy of all my classmates, all my husband's classmates, all of my parents' colleagues, and the people that they've worked with. My dad worked in the CETA program, which was a manpower training program that existed back in the 60s. And there are some students that came through that. And then he worked in the bookstore and people that worked with him there. Then he worked in housing, and all of the guys that lived in his dorm, and the legacy with that. My mom worked in the library. And so all of her colleagues and student workers that then ended up working there, and all of the people that came behind them. And they gave me a good name to come behind, right? Wow. They worked hard, left some legacy initiatives on their name. And so I'm writing their name. I'm writing the Good Adams name, just like I'm writing the Suggs name and the legacy of that all. So there's that, right? But then there's the fact that it's something to bringing back some experiences that I've gotten outside of FAMU, and some relationships that have been built with stakeholders and people that have had some experiences that will benefit us, I believe, as we lock arms with university leadership and affinity groups and the leaderships of those affinity groups. And as we then move the opportunities forward. So it means a lot, but it also is something that I am carrying with a huge respect for the institution, President Beard, and again, the rest of the leadership team, Chair Harper, Vice Chair Gibbons, the entire board of trustees, the foundation board, Chair LeBou, and all of the members of that, Curtis Johnson, who's my classmate. He happens to be the 19th NAA president. Coach Cozy happens to be the 19th head football coach. And so as this number 19 is manifesting itself and showing it, this team definitely has something special that we can then look at it and move it forward.
Now you're in the seat. And I know you don't talk this through a lot because, you love the university. What are the first three things that you see that you need to get to right now?
So, Coach, I'm not in the seat yet. I'm in Orlando as president and CEO of the Florida Sports Foundation. And I am honored to get an award here for Women in Sports Leadership on tomorrow, sponsored by the Greater Orlando Sports Commission. And so my official start date is October 7th. And what I'll tell you is the landscape of intercollegiate athletics is not the same as it was 7 years ago when I went to the Sports Foundation. So the first thing that we will, I will ask for appointments with each of my colleagues on the senior leadership team and the vice presidents of those different areas, look at the relationship that we have. I'll listen a lot and talk to the heads of these affinity groups that we spoke about. I'll talk with the team. I did meet with the head coaches briefly ahead of the press conference. And, I met with the entire staff that was in town in terms of the athletic staff. I'll meet with the student athletes and the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, the SAC leadership, listen to them. And then together, we'll take a look at solutions that we need. We have some amazing coaches, championship coaches across the board. And I am just honored to be in a position to then come in and take a look at some things that we need to do moving forward. But I've got to come in and really see what that is for what it's worth. I'm a touch it, see it, feel it kind of person. I need to see the numbers on the spreadsheet. I need to see the big picture. And then we will definitely come back and give you some of those priorities and those goals. But collaboration, again, is going to be very, very important. Community is going to be very, very important. Getting us out into the community. We talked about Tallahassee. We talked about the 850, which is bigger than Tallahassee. We talked about really having those 200,000+ people that call Tallahassee home. And then the rest of those the partners and stakeholders that we have in the Big Bend area to really choose FAMU as the other hometown Division I athletics program and teams.
Go ahead, Coach.
I was just going to ask AD Suggs this question. I met a gentleman while on vacation that was from Quincy. And though he didn't have a direct relationship with FAMU as a student or a staffer or anything like that, he loved FAMU, and he said that he attended all home games. And this is what I want to ask you. For that regular layperson, that regular fan, when they show up at the game on a fall day in Tallahassee on FAMU campus, how will they know that Angela Suggs is on duty?
It's going to be all about the experience. And that's who we're looking for. We have such an amazing entertainment experience. Once we get you in there, we're going to put on a show, and we're winning now because now that we're winning, and we have the incomparable Marching 100. We have our championship cheerleaders that are going to show you an amazing performance and show of spirit and support. Our student section is incomparable as well. Between DJ Loose Kid, the Marching 100, and the product that we put on the field, North End Zone Club, you're going to have an experience. But there is opportunity, right, for us to look at that through and through, to really, in terms of some things that we've learned from some events that we've had and local organizing committees, and taking a look at how many people we're going to have on the gates, and because the experience starts in the morning. It starts when you wake up. It starts with many of us in terms of how what you're going to wear. And so that means that the apparel, when I was there, the last time, we focused on that. We focused on the fact that we wear a lot of caps. We sell a lot of caps. Golf shirts, maybe not so much, because I know even with my dad, we're gonna take care of these polo shirts. They're going to the dry cleaners. They're never going to see the dryer. They're going to hang them up outside. So that means that they're not buying a $100 polo shirt every week or every month, but a tent, a chair, and so we focused on home wear items and tailgating items. We focused on ball caps, and we focused on things that we were buying, and we changed up some initiatives where we put in minimums for that. It used to be a standard 10%. And so that means if the vendor charges $5 for the hat, that means I'm only getting 10% of that. I'm only getting 50 cents. Well, guess what? We're going to put a minimum on that. Now, I don't know what the minimum is now, but the minimum that I put on it then was $2.50. So you might as well go ahead and sell it for $25 because I'm getting $250. You sell it for $5, I'm still getting $250. What we saw from that was a 400% increase, 400% increase year over year in terms of comparison from the previous year in our licensing revenues that we received, just because we took a little bit. And I didn't make that up. It was just going to conferences, seeing what the other institutions were doing and said, hey, we need to do that too. So we'll take a look at a lot of that. We'll take a look at that, and in terms of initiatives, we'll take it from there with the fan experience.
Well, it sounds like we're not gonna be doing no fish sandwich sale back in the 70s and 80s. You know, Coach, I'm big on black college hiring their own, and that's why I'm so ecstatic about Florida A&M and making the right choice and looking at your background. How you feel about now that you're in the spot and you got Florida A&M graduates out there? Because most programs that you see, they have their own mostly because they got skin in the game, especially at the HBCU level. You know, and I just don't believe in really bringing in a lot of people from the outside because they don't have that love we have. They don't have nothing skin in the game, and they don't understand how you got to do everything. You know, hey, I'm asking you, are you up to the task? I know you've been waiting a long time to get this position. You know, how you feel about that? You feel overwhelmed now, or you really haven't just got in there?
Well, definitely what's really overwhelming is the amount of support, the show of love, in a good way. And again, we coach for decades now. I have chosen to work in an industry where we are powered by the passion of people. And so with that, if, you know, on Monday mornings, because I've been one too, I've called some plays from the couch and, you know, done some things and understand that particular piece. But that's what makes it good. You know, if you're coming to Atlanta, if you're leaving your home in Quincy and driving to Atlanta, and you debate with whoever's in the car with you all the way from Quincy to Atlanta and back to Quincy in the name of cheering on the Rattlers. If you are in a house divided, headed to the Florida Classic, and you and your Wildcat family member are debating it all the way, hey, you know, we need to find a way to just make sure that experience is one that you need to, that you are willing to come back. I get that. So they're going to wear me out too. Now I get that, you know, that's coming. But as long as we keep our eyes on the plan that we put together, we keep our heads down, you know, we operate in sport where we keep points. And as long as we have more points next year than we had the previous year, as long as we have, you know, we keep moving ahead. And sometimes we may take a L, but we don't plan to take too many, right? And we're going to continue to move the program forward. And I get it. I can't take it as it being a personal attack, because sometimes, you know, people may not even know me personally, but they are passionate about whatever the decision is. But knowing that we're all trying to get to the same place, and that's to make us, you know, that's 14 championships, that's 14 postseason appearances by all of our teams. That's, you know, continuing to grow the experience, both for staff and coaches as well. Because the coaches are the ones that's going out there choosing these student athletes. And so we want them to have a great experience as well, as we then invite these students to come in and have an experience as well.
Well, Coach, one more question, then I'm going to turn it back over. You know, we got a lot of Florida A&M followers that watch this show, especially with Coach Bishop added to the show. He's been wonderful for us. You're talking to them now. What would you say that you need for them to do for you to help you be successful, for Florida A&M to be successful? Why should I give my money? Why should I send my kid to Florida A&M?
Absolutely. Hey, 6-time Coach said it.
Six.
Number one
Six.
is
Six.
And we've moved up into the 80s. A couple of years ago, it was, we're just trying to break 100. Again, we scored more points this year than we did last year. And the goal is to continue to move up those rankings. A stellar academic institution, world class in research, world class in our many programs. The investment, though, is we are a voluntary Division I athletic institution with the NCAA and the Southwestern Athletic Conference. No one's making us do that. And so our choice to compete in this landscape, it mandates really an investment. We are mandated to carry a minimum of 14 sports. We are then mandated to be able to adhere to different rules and regulations, right? And so with the cost of everything going up, we've got to keep up with that. And now in some places, we may have to catch up with that, but it's up to us. And I'm your athletics director. I am here to serve and our student athletes, our stakeholders, and in that service, it's providing the information. It's giving the education sometimes on what the rules are and how things work, dispelling a couple of myths even for it, but continuing to be forthcoming, to have those honest conversations and to really raise our scholarship investment so that we can then pour into the student athletes. I mean, my husband and I have an 18-year-old college freshman, and her getting ready to go to college is not like us going to college. That whole community bathroom and all the things that we, a hall phone and passing by the hall phone and answering the phone and letting it drop on the ground and tapping on somebody's door. That's a different experience, right? And that's not how we raised them, right? And so, and that's for everyone, and not everyone is coming from the same place, but not everyone is coming from the same place because they all have cell phones and they all, no matter where they're coming from, they're coming with their cell phones, 24-hour access and the information that we then need to be able to put out to continue to grow the relevant experience. I couldn't raise Dylan, that's our daughter, the way I was raised because I was raised for the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. I'm raising her for a whole different world. And that's what we've got to talk about with our student athletes, that we are graduating them into a different world. We are preparing them for a different experience, and we've got to be committed to that.
Well, see, you stole one of my questions because I was going to talk about one of your titles is mother. And baby, when Scotty did that show yesterday, your daughter came in there proud of her mama. But that also, and you talked a little bit about it, but you are a mother of an athlete, of a college athlete. So I guess you've answered a little bit of that, but I'm going to try to expound on that. How is it being a mother? Does that allow you to have insight and empathy for our own student athletes? And are you going to use that insight of what your daughter is I'm sure, hey, mama, this is this and this is that because you are her mother. And you understand that because mothers are special. Mothers are special. And honestly, you're going to be a mother to a lot of our student athletes. They're going to look up to you. They're going to talk to you. You're going to be able to encourage them. You're going to be able to push them forward. But are you looking to, again, have these open dialogues? Because one of the things that I think we can all agree a little bit, FAMU had a disconnect between maybe the athletic administration and some of the issues that the student athletes had. What are you looking to do, far as, like I say, being a mother and understanding and having that empathy for our student athletes?
So again, I'm going to lock arms with the coaches. They are on the front lines. They went into the homes. They committed to these families that we were going to take care of these men and women and help them get a degree and to win some championships. That's what the promise was. And so I am here to support that promise. I'm committed to us, living out that promise. And the mom in me Now we have some high expectations, right, in the Suggs household, and so with that, we'll carry that across the board because we know it can be done, right, and we're not going to give up. Again, we're going to find solutions. We're going to look at results, and we're going to be supportive, and that's where the mom and me comes in with that.
Well, and we only asked for 30 minutes, and you've given us far more than that. And I want to thank you for going on. But I got to ask one more question, right? And this is a serious question. I went down to the OVC this past August 31st, and FAMU didn't play in the game. And a lot of people told me that if FAMU had been there, it would have been a totally different experience than what I had. And I'll just ask you this, nothing direct, but will there be any thought of reconsideration of FAMU pulling out of the OVC and maybe considering renewing that relationship with that particular classic?
Nothing is off the table. And so as we look at revenues and student athlete experience, I was at this year's game as well. I've attended all of them. And so I left Tallahassee and went down to the Orange Blossom Classic. And what I will say about that event is there is a commitment to a stellar production of a sporting event. And if you ask any of the student athletes from Florida A&M, Jackson State, Alabama State, North Carolina Central, when you ask the student athlete about their experience in the game, all of them are telling you that it was a great experience. And that can't be ignored from the player. It is truly a bowl like experience for those student athletes and for many of the coaches and the other staff as well. And so as I speak about commitment to the student athlete experience, we definitely have to consider those opportunities and events like the Orange Blossom Classic, the presented by Denny's, the Florida Blue Florida Classic, and other events of that nature. And so those are some of the things that we definitely have to consider. And there's no way that I can say that we are committed to a student athlete experience and not consider the events that exist that foster that for them.
Let me ask one last. I know we got to let you go, 80s Suggs, but we got a lot of people, and this is what I'm talking about, enthusiasm. A lot of people are excited, and Kendra Sykes, who's a big Rattler fan, a lot of people already want to give you some money. Already. They are excited. So are you looking to do any social media capital campaigns? We got to get you active on Twitter. You got a lot of people looking ready for us. I'm going to let you know that, and your Instagram. So are you looking to maybe do some things like that because you do have this enthusiasm and come out the gate and say, hey, Rattlers, look, I'm looking for $19 from all of y'all right off the rip or something like that? Is that something that, maybe, as again, to get, because people are excited. And I mean, we got people in the chat saying, where can I send a check? What can I do? And everything. So how are you going to try to capitalize on this? Because these people, first of all, and I'm going to say this, which says a lot about you, they want to see you successful, first and foremost. Which, again, like I said, you have sorority sisters, classmates, relatives, friends of yours. They want to see you successful. With that being said, as you know, being clapping don't pay no bills. Right. So what do you can do right off the rip to really say, hey, guys, this is what we're looking to do. Is you looking to maybe start off a fundraiser like that? And again, I know that it's kind of forward, but I'm the type of person, me, I'm all about the money. How can I get my girl some money? So is that something that maybe you're going to be looking into when you, like you say, come on October 7th?
Absolutely. And so I'm having conversations now with the heads of the different affinity groups, and we'll definitely speak with COO Palm and the advancement staff, because what I want to do is just get an understanding of our giving efforts that we already have. And that's happening right now. And so when I come in on October 7th, definitely we will have a better understanding in that way. I know that we have several funds in the FAMU Foundation where You can donate to the different teams. You can donate to the Rattler Athletic Fund. You can donate to the Scholarship Fund. Of course, we have the Gaither Society, but really getting an understanding so that when I come out and I am committing to you, I am also committing also to next steps and how we are stewarding your gift, and then how we're going to communicate to you where that gift is going. And so having that understanding, I know that scholarships, if we could get 100% of our scholarship funded from private donations, that then takes those expenses for scholarships and then moves them. That helps to grow our budget instantly, because we then take the funds that we are receiving from ticket sales, gate receipts, and some of the other areas, and then pour that into operations, pour that into cost of attendance, into training tables, into other, looking at how we can then look at our foundation accounts and how we can have support, how we can budget for championship rings. Because if we know that we want 14 championships, we know that rings come with that. We know that staying a little bit longer during the holiday season when the school is closed and feeding for a few more days, even into the summer, as we look at track and field and softball and baseball and all of those efforts, we want to be able to budget for that on the front end, because that's the expectation. We want to be prepared to win and be able to pay for it when it happens. And so I'm not saying for anyone to hold on, because again, we have the Rattler Athletic Fund, we have our scholarship fund, we have all of our teams that are there, and we also have our affinity groups, our Rattler boosters that are raising funds, and we have the Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club and the Memorial $1 Million campaign. And so there are efforts and initiatives that all pour directly back into FAMU athletics. And don't hold your money. Let's go ahead and pour it in. If you haven't bought tickets to the games, that's a way that we want to give. And so if we see 1919, either be that $19.19 or $1,919 or 19,000.
I'm going to sleep thinking
we know that that's a part of this initiative. And if we see that pop up in any of these accounts or initiatives, I thank you, the Rattler Nation and HBCU Nation for the support.
Well, you took my idea right away. I put in the comments, I've pasted the FAMU donation site. My recommendation was go to the Rattler Foundation, but there are several different organizations you can donate to, like she said, and any combination 19, that's $19, that's $119, that's $190, that's was it 1,919, 1,900, 19,000. Like she said, y'all go ahead and go over there and donate, and that'll show your support for the 19th AD at FAMU University. I want to thank you personally for coming on and joining with us, speaking with us. I see now, after a spirited debate with my good brother here, Bishop Campbell, I understand that this was a qualified hire.
100%.
And here was my point. My point was the enthusiasm that's being showed for you being hired because they got the person they wanted, or is it because they got the right person? And today, through our conversation today, I feel like they not only got the person they wanted, but they got the right person as well. So thank you, AD Suggs, for joining with us. And if Coach Cole, if you'd like to say anything.
I just, I got to let her get in there because there's some other questions I'd like to ask once you get in there and find out where the restroom. Well, you already know where the restroom is. You've been around there all your life. So again, thank you for coming over, guys. I think you guys knocked it out of the park, Mr. Bishop. And I appreciate again that you took your time out to come out and talk to your Florida A&M Rattlers as well as the HBCU community.
And I'll be donating my $19.
Yeah.
And I'll be donating.
Good.
And I'll be donating my $19, even though I'm not a Rattler. I still got 19 for you.
Thank you. We
I'll
appreciate
second
it.
that. I'll second that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All
That's
right.
my AD. That's my AD.
Hey man, I ain't seen Rattlers this happy since December the 19th.
Bro, it's a celebration bowl, bro. It's been rough. It's been said, well, I think what that December 20th or 19th, that might have been December 19th. But it's been rough. But we got some, boy, we bragging different again now, boy. That boy, I'm telling you, them boys arrogant again, boy. We back ready to ride.
You got your swag back?
Man, listen, we ready to strike. We ready to strike.
Strike in. Let's get going with the next.
Hey, well, okay. We gonna give. Hey, I tell you what. If you guys can guess our next guest, we'll give you tickets to the State Fair Classic. If you can guess our next guest, I'm gonna give you guys a quick clue.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Buffer. Our great nation is shared by the biggest fights and rivalries of our lives. Muhammad Ali versus Smoke and Joe Frazier. Iron Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks. Floyd Money Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. And Grambling State University versus Prairie View A&M University. The state of Texas versus the state of Louisiana. The world-famed Tiger Marching Band versus the Marching Storm. Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, guys, man, I appreciate. Hey, do you guys have any idea who they?
I'm gonna bring you on now.
Oh yeah, he went. He logged out. He needs to come back in.
Hey, you logged out. You need to come on back in.
All right, hey, guess who we? Hey, give me some guesses. Who y'all think we got coming up? Our next guest. Give me a guess. If you guess correct, then we'll give you 2 tickets to the State Fair Classic. If you can guess our next guest. If you can guess, we got a Willie Simmons. Nope. Mickey Joseph. Nope. If you can guess our next guest, I promise.
Yeah.
Mickey, no, it's not Mickey. It's not Mickey. It's not Mickey.
But we did have Mickey here on HBCU Coaches Corner. So I want to say that. That's why people are saying, see, the big name coaches come on this show. So that's why he's saying that.
All right, here we go. With Dawson Odoms? No, we don't have Dawson Odoms. With no further ado, I'd like to bring up the promoter extraordinaire, none other than the man who puts on the production, Al Wash, of the State Fair Classic at the Cotton Bowl each and every year. And from what I understand, this is his 49th game that he's promoted.
Al,
are you there? Mr. Watch, are you there?
we got to get him to come on back. Okay, there you go. Is that Al? Let me make sure I call him. He was in and then he got out, Coach?
Yeah, he was in. He never quite got his camera turned on, but he was logged in for sure.
Okay.
I can bring him down till we see his camera on. Once we see his camera on, we'll know he's right.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, we're bringing Al Wash on. You said a little bit about him. I like to say a little bit about him. He's been a friend of mine for. Matter of fact, I played in the first Labor Day Classic, where him and Mr. Carrington was the promoters. I met him way back in 1985, and he's one of the. I wouldn't say a dinosaur, but he's a dinosaur because you don't have these promoters putting on these games anymore. and he's been having his game forever, along with a whole bunch of other stuff that he does. So, without further ado, I think he's in now, Coach.
Am I in? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man, but we can't see you. How you doing, Coach?
All right, because I'm in my car and I don't know how to cut the camera off on my car. So I just jumped out the car to do this interview.
All right, all right. Hey, well, you're good, Mr. Watch. My name is Rocky Miller, also part of the equity in 94.5, and you've been so gracious to advertise on our station here in Waco, and we've given away several tickets as well to your station. I want to thank you for advertising with us, and also, using us as a means to promote your wonderful, wonderful State Fair Classic.
Well, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah. And we got Coach Campbell, also the Bishop, who's a Florida A&M man on the show. Coach Wash,
Yes.
this is your 49th. Next year is the 100th game of this classic. Kind of talk with our audience about the things that you do, and especially about the game that you give these big, large money gifts to these two HBCU institutions for playing in that game.
Well, I'm going to have to say that this will be the largest payday of any HBCU school conference game. I don't know, and I might be wrong now, but somebody got to prove me wrong. But I have not seen a payday and I've played the Soldier Field, I've played Independence Stadium in Shreveport, I've played Chicago, Houston, the Reliance Stadium, the Astrodome, Texas Stadium, the Cotton Bowl, Silver Dome in Detroit. So I done played every major stadium there is. With Eddie Robinson, he's always said, half team will travel.
And a lot of people don't know, Al, that you go back, and you actually had a real personal relationship with Eddie, as well as the whole structure on how Grambling got ahead of all the HBCU schools by playing in these big classes.
Well, and that's true. But everybody, felt like that Eddie Robinson was never fair to him. But once they saw the light and they wanted something that was not real and was not taking place, but when they saw the light and they decided to move on, everything fall apart. One prime example is the Labor Day Classic with Texas Southern and Prairie View. Like one good friend of mine said, look at the numbers. The numbers will tell the story, you know. And when you look at the numbers of what everybody's taking home, but then they think a promoter is making more money and we can kick them to the curb and we can make this money ourselves. Within 3 years, the game had just disappeared,
Yeah, yeah,
you know. And that's the thing. It takes money to make money. And just like you played that radio spot with Michael Buffett, and nobody ever went and got a Michael Buffett to do a radio commercial or TV spot, And the first question everybody asked me, how much did you pay him to do that?
It's
you
about
know,
relationships. It's about relationships.
and then
Al,
we got Rick Ross. Rick Ross is coming to the game. There you got to make it an event. That's what you have to do.
yeah. Everybody always talk, and I'll be right there on your shoulder, and they think it's about the game. And I know one of your things you say, man, I don't care who win the game as long as they show up. You do some things that's special. It ain't just about the game. Your thing is about what, as you can talk with our audience.
Well, my thing is about making it a happening. It's an event. Don't know. Half the people that come there don't care about the football game. Half the people want to see the band. Then some people, you have to get their attention. And even though the football game is the focus point of the event, but you have to get the attention. We have what we call the baby block party in the end zone. That's what Rick Ross is coming. I mean, there's entertainers that I don't even know about that these young kids know who they are. But, where can you go to the world's largest fair, a classic football game with we have Dietrich Haddon performing before the game, Big Daddy Kane after the game, Rick Ross and a lot of his friends on the inside the stadium. I mean, there's celebrities like Deion Sanders. When Deion is up there in Colorado, look who's on the sideline. This is show business, everybody.
So Al, and I don't think they even understand. You can buy your ticket to the game that will get you in the fair free. You want to go through that with our audience?
Well, the fair is, like I said, is the world's largest fair, automobile show. You have all kind of foods, you got all kind of crafts, animals, on showcase. You can go to the fair every day for a week and never see the same thing. That's how big it is. The only fair that competes with the Dallas, Texas State Fair is in New York. So you can imagine. And then you have the game. You have a pregame concert. You have a postgame concert. You have the world's famed marching band. You have the Prairie View A&M Storm, you know, with the Black Foxes.
So
I mean, it's show, baby.
yeah, so if I buy a ticket from one of the outlets, I can take that ticket and actually get into the fair, enjoy the fair, and then go to the game. Is
And
that
you can come in at 10 a.m. in the morning and be there at 12 midnight when the fair closed down.
and that
Wh-
game is this week?
In the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas.
And I'll be there.
And it's the game starts at 6, right, Coach, on Saturday?
The game started at 6 o'clock. Dietrich hadn't gone on stage at 4 o'clock. Game started at 6 o'clock. Big Daddy Kane is after the game. I mean, you got the fifth quarter. You got the bands doing their little battle in the stands. It's a show. It's a show.
Now,
And
now, now, Mr. Watts, I was there one year when you had Fantasia performing before the game. It was absolute. She gave absolutely a phenomenal concert. And this is not the first year of you bringing these kind of acts, man. You bring these kind of top-notch acts each and every year. So if you can't make it this year, please put it on your calendar next year because it's a sensational event.
And it's
you know,
like he says, 100-year anniversary, and I can't even tell you what we getting ready to do because whatever we do, like who is that Johnny said, we're gonna make it funky.
one of the things, Al, of course, I give you your flowers, and you've always been open to me. And I know some of our audience, you've had the Bayou Classic now has fell off. Yeah, the Labor Day Classic between TSU and Prairie View, when you had it back in early, it was at 25,000 then. Now it's back down to 15, 14,000. You've had the Circle City Classic that fell off. The Southern Heritage fell off for a minute. The Atlantic Men Classic has failed. You've also took Grambling up and sold out New York Yankees Stadium. You also are part also of the HBCU Black College game and opened up the season up there in the Hall of Fame.
That's
What are
correct.
some of the things that you've done so great that other guys haven't done? And I know one of them is the love for Black college football.
Well, the first thing you have to do, Johnny, and doing this for 49 years, you got to think outside the box. You can't take the same thing and do it the same way every single year, because you're going to only get a person attention, 1, 2 years out of 5 years. And if I do the same thing, that means I might get them 1 year out of 5. I might, 1 out of 10. But if I do something different every single year, it makes it exciting. And that's what you have to do. This is the first time I've ever had gospel on the main stage. Now, Everybody told me, "Are you crazy?" But I went and got a guy named Dietrich Haddon, who is one of the top entertainers. He's the Michael Jackson, the Prince of gospel. You know, I mean, the boy put on a show. He might be out in the audience and he might do anything, you know. I mean, but you got to think that way. Big Daddy Kane. We've had a guy just told me a while ago, I wanted to see Ashanti. That's why I came to see Ashanti. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we've had Ashanti. We've
Passion.
had Destiny Child with Christina Aguilera in
Yeah.
the early days.
Yeah.
Like you said, we've had Fantasia. You know,
Yeah.
we've had some of everybody that you can think of on that stage over these 49 years.
Yeah. You said something earlier about a promoter, and you know I'm pro promoter, and to the audience why? Because he has something, he has some skin in the game, and he knows what he's doing. Instead of getting together in a room with some people, the English teacher, the math teacher, some VPs, and talking about, oh, well, we're gonna do a game. And I know they want to know, you know, how money shared. And I think one of the biggest things for you, Al, is that you ain't a gouger. You put your percent on, and then the rest goes to the team. And like you say, this is gonna be one of the biggest paydays, Campbell, for a conference game on both schools. It's gonna
Well,
be.
you
Go
have
ahead.
to let the school make the money because they need the money worse than anybody to keep the teams to coming into this city. And if I go in and gouge them for money and think that I'm the reason, you know, I'm only as good as everybody, the teams are, the bands are, you know, but I know how to put it together. It's like baking a cake. If you know all the ingredients, you know, you can make it work, you know. But if
Uh,
you don't know the ingredients, baby, you lost.
yeah,
Cake gonna flatten out before it get out the oven. It's gonna taste funny, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But you use the same ingredients that your mama used, but you didn't know how to mix it. I can mix it.
You know, and guys, y'all could jump in there with won't, but one of the things when I was a head coach at Texas Southern, I had went out and me and Al talked about not only Rocky taking our classic game, forget the classic game. Some people gonna come to that. People gonna come to homecoming. I'd asked Al, we were dealing in a contract. Take my whole home season. I want you to take my home season and promote my home season. You know, so not only are they gonna come to those games, you know, and he's gonna make those games bigger. They don't come to regular season games. And I
So,
think HBCUs, that's where we're missing the boat at.
well, let me ask Al a question. So you only take a percentage, Al, and you also front the money?
Yes, sir.
See,
Because the school,
that's the sweetest deal in the business right there.
Everybody should be knocking on his door.
Yeah, if that's your strategy, you front the promotion and the marketing, secure the venue, do all of that, and then you only take a percentage. That's a great deal for anybody. That's
and,
that's
and it's,
that's only thing they need to do is bring their band and their football team, and they get to take the gate. There's no deal like that ever in entertainment.
they take 76% of the gross revenue.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
coach. Yeah, and that's why I think where we feel that sometimes that in HBCUs that we need people like Al. Not only can he come in, he can teach you how to do it. You know, get you going, get you started, and then teach your program how to do it. I see you over there writing notes to Miss Suggs, Campbell.
No, actually, I'm typing up some notes because I got some questions for Mr. Wash. But I'm letting you guys have y'all love fest because we gonna get on the business side in a second, some history. But I'm gonna let y'all handle that. So no,
I'm
I'm getting my notes together.
Oh, hey, look, we ready for you to rock and roll. Mr. Wash don't have all day. He got a big game, and it's the largest HBCU classic in the world. Go ahead, Coach.
All right. Well, Mr. Watts, first of all, thank you for coming on. I grew up in this HBCU space, and you talk about classics, but I want to talk about your knowledge of the classic, which I believe you have, and also what it means in this new century. The State Fair Classic actually helped integrate the city of Dallas, because what they used to do is that and this happened in many states down south, the black people only used to get 1 or 2 days to go to the fair. So a long time, black people in Texas could actually go to the state fair. Go to the fair was when the State Fair Classic, and it was only for 1 day.
It was on a Monday night.
On a Monday night, exactly. And then in 1961, 1960, they had a protest and a demonstration, and then they integrated the fair in 1961. So this particular class that you're promoting has cultural significance for black people, not only in Texas, all across the country. With that being said, what part of history do you allow to play into the class? Do you let the new generation understand that not only are they coming to the game to see football and to see all the best entertainment, but this particular classic helped integrate the South and what it really means, why this classic has to keep going on and keep being bigger and bigger?
Well, and it's something where y'all saying, do I let the younger generation know? I take what they ideas and I implement them, because people that's educating our kids today, they don't quite get it. They educate them one way, and they've been taught to do it that way. It's the system, you know. But I take my son, these other kids that's at these universities, and find out what they want to hear, what they want to see. And like Johnny said, they not want to see the same thing. They can see that every week or every other week they play. They got every home game. Why would they come to Dallas in the numbers that they coming in if it's not different? You know,
Absolutely.
I got a gentleman sitting here right next to me, Dietrich Haddon, who's one of the biggest gospel artists, and his record just went in the top 20, and we sitting there brainstorming where he came in, and he's been in here a solid week, and he's been rehearsing. I took several different major churches in the market, and we put together a 200-piece mass choir. That's something. The reason for that is for us to be able to market in these churches, to let the churches feel like, okay, we part of it, you know. And he's been in here. We was at church last night until about 9 o'clock rehearsing for and it's gonna be stupid out there what people gonna see. I mean, and we're talking about now how we can do it and do it across the country in different state fairs across the country. And we can enlarge the attendance, because these kids are spending money. If I bring in 50,000 people, to the game, what are they gonna average? Maybe $100 spending in there, 100 times 50,000. That ain't no chump change. Texas OU bring 94,000, and the public can't even buy a ticket. Only way you can get a ticket is that you're a student or alumni from Texas, Oklahoma. And that's the way it should be. We should be, if not selling out, we should be so close to selling out that Cotton Bowl that is unreal, because of what you saying, the history of it. We got the city involved. The city generates money. They give us money. You know, they give us the stadium. The state fair generates money. The state fair give us the stadium. We all partners. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
Hey, Mr. Wash, is Dietrich doing any radio hits while Thursday, Friday before the game?
I'm gonna let him answer that for you.
Man, I'm here to work. I'm here to work, man. I'm just honored to be able to work with Mr. Watts, man, a legend, and to be here and just learn from him, man. Because I see where we can take gospel music to another place, and we're here to redefine what a gospel artist can accomplish. So I'm hanging with him, man, getting all the wisdom I can get from him. Yeah, but I'm here all week, man, to do radio. I'm doing radio They have
It'll
you
be a
scheduled.
phone. It'll be a phone hit. And so, if that's something you're willing to do, I definitely can get you on a afternoon or evening show to do a radio hit for us. It can even be
Let's do it.
recorded if you need to.
Let's do it.
Well, I'll give Mr. Watts' information from Coach Cole, if you don't mind, Mr. Watts, and we'll set it up.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we miss you because you had I think missed your flight or something, and you were we wanted to interview you while we were there at media day. So
Yeah,
that's good that we can make it for that.
my apologies. That traffic was ridiculous, man. I made it there, but just and it didn't quite make it. But I'm here, man. I'm here.
How familiar are you with HBCU? And I know you here for Al Wash, but some of it has to be to care for historically black colleges in this great classic. How much is that one reason why you took the contract and came? Can you tell our audience?
I think it's just incredible. I'm in full support. I graduated from seminary, William Tyndale Bible School, but most of my family, my brothers and my cousins, they went to several HBCU schools, and so that's a big deal. Education was pushed to my family. I just went the route of, being a pastor. I'm a pastor here in Los Angeles, but I think it's a big deal because I just think that we're able to connect with the next generation, and to push them in the right direction. And my job is to inspire, their faith, to ignite their faith, while they're pursuing their careers and learning and getting an education for the future. I like to infuse the faith factor because that's a big factor in being successful in life, is staying connected to God and just keeping your faith up. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Campbell.
Mr. Walsh, you got two historic programs. Grambling State University, you talked about your relationship with Eddie Robinson. Prairie View, that has been part of this classic forever. What do those schools and why those particular schools work so well at the State Fair Classic?
Well, it's not that they doing something that can't nobody else do as well, but they stuck with it, and they got somebody that they believed in, and they've been with me for 49 years. And if it's working, what you gonna go fix if it's working? You're gonna buy a new car and you're gonna go fix it and it's brand new?
That's right. That's right. I'm
You
not.
know,
And Coach Al, look, one of the things that remember I used to say, Al, why you don't put your game on TV? And how did this game last so long? With Prairie View, Gremlin has beat Prairie View almost 40 games to 10. And he said, it's because it ain't about the game. It's about the event. And that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Because everybody knew, especially in the 80s and 90s, that Grambling was going to win the game. But you still have big, large crowds and all that. And that's because of the backing and the production of Al Wash, AWL production.
As a native Texan and somebody who has heard about the game his entire life, I'm 54 years old, Mr. Wash, so I've been hearing about this game my entire life. I've only had the pleasure of attending twice. But no one ever talks about the game when they describe the experience of being at the State Fair Classic. It always is something else that kind of steals the show. But I think we're at a point in HBCU sports where the football game now is a large part of the show. Do you think that now will help attendance?
oh, no doubt about it. It would help attendance and what sports is doing and these colleges are doing on TV. They get more exposure like they've never gotten before, So it used to be that it was just one or two colleges, or the Bayou Classic was on TV. They didn't know nothing about other classic games. A lot of people in this part of the country didn't know about Circle City, you know. But and it goes back to a lot of people had never heard of the Space City Classic. That was Texas Southern and Grambling in Houston. You know, there's classics that have been around and was doing well, and somebody stepped in and destroyed them. You know, and now it's time for us to get them back on track. You know, and it's not just about the money, even though I'm in business to make money. Don't get me wrong, y'all. But if I'm not making money for these schools, they're not gonna have me around.
Yeah.
But can't
Sometimes.
nobody, I don't know
Mhm.
nobody living today that have promoted more classic games than me. And I'm pretty good at what I do, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
And
ask
just
you this, Mr. Watts. Have you ever done any games in like Indianapolis or Cincinnati? My wife is
Ne-
from
ne-
Ohio.
Never done a game other than
the
the NFL
HBCU.
Hall of Fame
Yeah.
Classic
Yeah.
in Canton, Ohio,
Yeah.
and that's something that I started over there, and we started with Grambling, you know, and Grambling in Tennessee State, but it's a tough market, you know. You don't have the HBCUs in that area of Ohio. It's like Ohio State. Everybody know Ohio State. That's all they know is Ohio State. But it's
Mhm.
more than just Ohio State.
Yeah. 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 One of the things I'd like to go out, like Texas Southern in Grambling, was the first football game sold out in the Astrodome. If you know anything about the Astrodome, it was the first dome built. Grambling and Morgan State sold out Yankee Stadium. Uh, you know, and so those are things that have been going on back in the day, but we killed them. Just like the Southern Heritage Classic, when I was at Tennessee State, we played Jackson State. You know, you got 50,000 in there. Now, it's down to 30,000. Because and they broke the game up. Now Jackson State don't go there. I just believe some of it is tradition, just like the Turkey Day Classic, which is one of the oldest classics. But like I said, somebody got involved and didn't understand the magnitude of it. Now Alabama and Tuskegee, the game ain't like it used to be. You know, I had opportunity to perform in that game as well. And then the Circle City Classic out in Indiana, when I was at Southern, we played out there. But we played a North Carolina A&T team. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in tradition, but sometimes the wrong people get in there and start mixing things up and messing things up. And it kills and has killed a bunch of the classics that were real meaningful, not just about the money, but real meaningful to a bunch of alumni and people that give money. So we need to try to get those things back going. And I guess the other thing is about now is TV revenue. I think that's the biggest thing going on now. Well, Al, we ain't gonna hold you long. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. I know you're running around with your guests. I appreciate it. I look forward to hearing those big numbers. And as I always say, it's the greatest game or greatest classic that's going. Hey, can we play Al's intro as we go out?
Absolutely.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Buffer. Our great nation is shared by the biggest fights and rivalries of our lives. Muhammad Ali versus Smoke and Joe Frazier. Iron Mike Tyson versus Michael Spink. Floyd Money Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. And Grambling State University versus Prairie View A&M University. The state of Texas versus the state of Louisiana. The world famed Tiger Marching Band versus the Marching Storm. Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. Let's get ready to rumble!
Coach, any last words?
But thank y'all, and I appreciate you. And let me tell y'all something.
You might want to can you repeat that, Mr. Watts, because you cut out.
Man, we missed that. We really wanted that.
Yeah.
Is he still on?
Yeah, I mean, he's showing connected, but I don't know if he can hear us because we can't hear him.
Okay, checked out.
All right, Mr. Watts, can you hear us now? No, he may be gone, guys. Hey, but we had a big week in HBCU football, man. So are we gonna get to it?
Let's get to it.
All right. Look at here, guys. These are some of the games. We can just look at some of these. And then the big games, I got them isolated on a screen by themselves.
So the church is closed this trip. Nobody need no prayers.
No, listen. We probably need to integrate. As a matter of fact, we can integrate a prayer right here because one of the games that for a team that definitely needs a prayer is Bethune-Cookman, because they lost to Clark Atlanta 38-37 on a 55-yard kick by an HBCU kicker, a freshman.
Clark was down 34-14 at halftime.
So we are definitely going to say a prayer because them boys are 0-4, and those were a lot of people's sleeper pick. And now they are getting restless down there on that beach. David Wright went for 49, 374 yards, 4 touchdowns. And like you said, Coach, went crazy in the second half. And willed that team to victory and made the game, basically the game winning play to get them down to get that field goal, which was utterly amazing. This was one of those games as I was watching this game. And the thing about it is Bethune-Cookman's quarterback, Cameron Roberts-Ransom, was the SWAC player of the week offense because he went for 22 of 31 for 382 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you had a great quarterback battle. But this was a thing that once again, and Coach, you know this, the attention to details. Cameron Ransom got a penalty which pushed them back, which they missed a field goal, which actually probably cost them the game. Coach. So these are the things when I'm sitting up here. So yeah, definitely a prayer goes out to Bethune-Cookman because this is not how they wanted their season to start.
Wow.
Coach Cole, let me ask you this, because I know your protege is the head coach and your brother is a defense coordinator. What does that victory mean for that program, Clark Atlanta, who is a perennial loser, like you said? What does that victory mean?
Coach, this takes Clark and put them on the map. And you're about to see an explosion. You know, and what we always talk about, Rocky, some of these places, what they need to hire?
A winner.
A winner. And winning in the city of Atlanta, and you sitting right there in the Mecca, Coach, and they sitting at 3-0-1, and they're gonna go down the lane this week. And I think that they should beat Lane if they don't go down there and lay an egg. I just think they're just so talented. This is big for Coach Keene. This is big for Clark University. Guys, you got to understand that this school has only had one winning season in over 35 years. We ain't talking about a championship. We're talking about winning 6 games out of 10. They've only did it one time in 35 years. So to sit at 3-1, you got Bethune-Cookman. This is huge. And then you talk about a Clark team that last year didn't win no game. Year before that didn't win no game. Year before that. And you talking about a team that this is one, and if they keep going, it's going to be one of the biggest turnarounds in history. They also got on national TV, Joey Galloway gave him one of those tags on the helmet. You know, so
wow.
This is big, man. This is big. This Division II team jumped all over 118. It's exciting. I look forward to calling their game in about 2 weeks up in Ohio. And Coach, they doing this on the road, Rocky. This ain't at home.
They riding the bus. They riding the bus, Coach.
Coach, they went to Florida Memorial, 15 hours. Turn back around the next week and go to Bethune for 10. Coach, that's crazy. And be able to get off the bus and perform at this level, man, you got to take your hat off to Teddy Key and his coaching staff for having them prepared.
And let me ask you this, Mr. Campbell, since you're the historian of HBCU football, and also specifically Florida, right? Has the Bethune-Cookman program been any lower than this in your lifetime?
Well, this is the thing. Bethune-Cookman, and it really what Bethune, and this coach knows this. When FAMU is down, that's when Bethune is up. When FAMU is up, that's when Bethune is down. And we're in one of those eras. FAMU is up, and because what usually happens is when FAMU is down, then Bethune starts getting the players that want to look for an HBCU in Florida. And that's why they went on a very nice run for 7-8 years. Actually won the conference, I think, twice.
They won it 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. There you go. So again, with FAMU rising back up, but what I am shocked about, and again, you can see the talent on the team. They had a quarterback that threw for 382 yards. Now I understand it was Clark and the defense, but the point of it is you saw talent on this team. But there again, and we're going to talk about this, I think, a little bit later when games. But this goes to show me a lot of these transfers that all these teams are getting are just not producing because they do not have the continuity to understand how to win games. And we're kind of seeing that in some of the big name programs. It's happening at FAMU. It's happening at Jackson State a little bit. And then clearly Bethune, where they brought all these players in that they should be better, and then they lose a game like this.
Well, speaking to my brother about the game and how he defended the left-hand quarterback at Bethune, instead of bringing pressure to his left side, he brought pressure to his right side. And the kid had a hard time completing those same passes he completed in the first half. That's what you call strategizing. That's what you call coaching. And that's what older coaches bring to these coaching staffs that some of these teams doesn't have, is you got to bring some seasoned coaches on there to teach the young coaches. But Coach Keaton does a great job in putting together a masterful coaching staff.
Hey, and another game I want to mention on here, Coach. Y'all mentioned that that Eddie George is kind of in a make or break year, and he traveled down to Tennessee Tech and lost the game 24-14.
I want to use this game. I'm sorry, but I want to use this game as why North Carolina A&T is going to fall the same way and doing the same thing. You got to be ready to go play, and I'm going to say it, these PWI schools. The first and foremost and most important things about playing PWI schools is discipline. If you don't have discipline, 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep seeing this. And if you see all of it, you know what I mean? Richmond beat Delaware State. Nicholls State beat Valley 66-10. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a Norfolk that beat VMI. Thank God. And evidently it must be a real bad VMI team. I've coached against these PWI schools. You got to be disciplined. You got to be strong in that weight room. And you got to be winning at least 2 parts of the defense, offense, and kicking game. And Tennessee State's record in a what they call it, the Big South now, Coach, they hadn't even won over 6 games since he's been there in that conference. From the conference team, not outside team, from the conference team.
Wow. So let's go to our next slide. And we got some what I consider to be some surprises here. One surprise I'll point out is Texas Southern playing a nip and tuck game with Lamar. Alcorn not being competitive to McNeese.
We need a prayer.
We've got, go ahead, Rocky.
And then Howard, for the most part, they weren't very competitive, even though it's just a 7-point game. I didn't see this game being very competitive when you look at what the score was early versus what it was late. I didn't see that game as being very – it seemed like Hampton had control of the game the entire time. So you guys – what do you guys think?
Well, Alcorn State needed prayer. And to get beat by McNeese 42-14, and McNeese was 0-11 last year, 1-9 or 10, and they barely got past Southern University if you watch the game. And, you know, you've seen all the turnovers and stuff that Alcorn. So I didn't expect the McNeese team where they are now to beat the Alcorn team 42-14. That's saying something about Alcorn State. And we got to face the fact that we might have jumped the gun on Alcorn State. But we will see. We're in the middle of the season. You know, conference play is about to kick in. Anytime Texas Southern plays somebody close, anytime they play somebody close, that's a feather in their cap. Now, if I'm going to give out any moral victories, I'm going to give them to schools like Texas Southern, you know, Mississippi Valley, you know, those perennial losing programs. To beat Lamar ain't a real big deal, but to play solid football and you're not getting blown out, it shows sign of improvement. And that's what you want to see when you have a new coach. Okay. We'll see next week when Texas Southern play Jackson State, really right where they are or where they should be. And if they lose that game, which I think is a counter, now we're in about a week or two. If Grambling keep rolling, we could start giving the West Crown to Grambling State.
Now I want to ask the Rattler about this, what he thought about the Florida A&M against Troy. A competitive game. The score ended up being, you know, it got out of hand late, but for a lot of the game, Florida A&M was in the game. What did you think overall in their ability to compete in that game against Troy?
Well, this is what goes back to what I'm talking about, the players that you recruit from the Power 5 level. Florida A&M brought in 28 players from the Power 5 level. So you believe that there is a level of talent consistency there. The halftime score was 14-9. FAMU missed several opportunities to score. They moved the ball. Davidson threw for 288 yards. So again, he showed once again, no turnovers, no touchdowns. But once again, Florida A&M, which we saw at the South Carolina State game specifically, is that we did not execute on scoring touchdowns. And I know that is something that I know Coach Henry and Coach Cole has got to be driving them nuts. Because basically, and Coach, you know, it's kind of like they're going from the 22 to 30. So they get all those empty calorie yards, but they're not going past the 30 to get a touchdown or even get in the red zone. So there are things, as far as execution-wise, that I saw that I think that, and not being funny, and I hate to say this, but FAMU's game has been canceled. I think this is going to benefit FAMU, having another off week, to be honest with you, just to practice to get ready for Alabama State. Because I think what you see in the offense, you see spurts of talent. You see the running game getting a little bit, then it stalls out. You see Gassick going off. You see Richardson, but they're not putting the ball in the end zone. So I think for Florida A&M, with the level of players that they have, there's a level of consistency that just not has happened in the 4 games that they played. So for me, the moral victory is no, we didn't get blown out, but I also saw opportunity where literally, honestly, we could have won this game.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Troy is a Division 1A program, and they are a feeder school from Auburn. You know, being at Alabama State, we played Troy as well, and they've always had a good program. So yeah, we can't give a tag to Florida A&M for playing them tough. You know, but we picked this, you know, and I wanted to move over. We picked this Howard and Hampton game. You know, we felt that Hampton would win this game and win a close one. You know, Austin P is another PWI that we used to play against down there in Clarksville, Tennessee. You know, again, another team from the Ohio Valley Conference, which jumped all over Alabama A&M. You know, that's another prayer, Coach. Because
listen, that U-Haul, I have told the people at Alabama A&M, I sent them a coupon for the U-Haul, and they are dodging a bullet by not playing FAMU. Honestly, they are dodging a bullet. So that is also going to benefit them. But you know what, Coach? I really want to talk about 2 games here on this list. I want to talk about Alcorn and McNeese. Alcorn believed they were going to win this game. They beat them last year. They felt good about it, but McNeese went for 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing. Yeah. So again, there is something going on defensively for Alcorn, and we already know that they've been having issues with the quarterback position. that is not executed and scoring points. So there is a big question mark there. Now, you know what? Again, we got to give Coach. I think sometimes we're a little bit of good luck because when you come on this show, good things happen other than for our coach, Bubba McDowell down at Prairie View, because I'm going to have to say a prayer for them because we're going to definitely get to that slide. But, hey, man, Chris Dishman's got those kids playing at Texas Southern. And his demeanor, again, a lot of people they wanted to see the rah-rah and all that and the high platitude. But, hey, man, Chris Dishman is coaching like he played. Hey, man, I'm just going to be consistent and look like his team's playing consistent. The offense for the quarterback was not getting it, but they did have a great running attack. They ran for over 150 yards running in this game. They were up in this game. They had Lamar shut out, and Lamar came back and won in the second half. So, again, I'm looking forward to the Texas Southern Jackson State game. That's one of the games that we're going to highlight going forward.
Yeah. I take my hat off to Coach Dishman. The one thing I like about what he's done is hired a good, mature staff, and that's important. It's his first year. He's still on his honeymoon. I like to see that instead of some, score out the box to say that he's moving that program in the right direction.
I just want to ask you, well, we'll get to that later, but about you say FAMU is not playing next week.
The game, this Saturday, they've canceled because of the hurricane.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All
right. Guys, just one statement about Central Arkansas and Pine Bluff. And, last week when Texas Southern got beat bad by Rice, this is why I don't play. If I'm Arkansas Pine Bluff, what am I playing Central Arkansas? Central Arkansas got a much better program, offer much more scholarships. This kills you in your area of recruiting when you get beat 50-67-17 by a school that's right there in your state. I don't know if they got the money, but to me, it wouldn't have been enough. If I was going to take this ass whooping, I would have went somewhere else and got it, huh? And got some real money, Coach. But go ahead. I was going to say something, but I don't need to say that.
Hey, Rocky, one last thing on this last graphic on here. I watched the Howard-Hampton game. Hey, I'm going to tell you this. If Hampton was in the MEAC, they would be challenging for that title. They have run the ball. They got an outstanding offensive line. They mashed Howard up and down the field. They did the same thing last week against Norfolk State. Hey, Hampton, they look very impressive. We'll see when they go in the CAA play and see what they do. But I'm going to tell you something. I watched this game, and that offensive line and Chris L, once again, they executed. So I was really impressed.
My question is, can some of the schools in their conference make them exercise or operate in that other dimension? Against the last 2 weeks, they just refused to and hadn't wanted to, and they've been able to do what they want to on the ground. But if someone can, control the run, I wonder, can they pass? Well,
that's been the whole question about Zealous as a quarterback. Is he going to have the Chris Zealous again? Because, again, in this game, he went 10 for 11 on through for 88 yards. So, again, that has been the knock on him. If he needs to make plays, and actually not even plays, make throws, just to keep the chains moving and keep the team on schedule, can he do it? And that's one of the things that's going to be a question mark, and we'll find out as they get on into conference play.
Wow. You mean a guy throws for 11, only throw the ball 11 times?
That's all they need. That's all they need to do, Coach. When you run for 293 yards.
Yeah.
Or how do you need to throw the ball when you run for almost 300 yards rushing?
Well, I'm going to have a talk with my defensive coordinator because definitely I'm going to have 8 and 9 in the box. But hey, look, that's another story.
All right, Coach, y'all explain to me how important this game is in HBCU football. Y'all let me know that this game was a rivalry, no doubt, between these is two cultures clashing. It was clear on this show, Trey Oliver does not like North Carolina A&T. And we found out how much when the bishop made a mistake. And and so is there a point to be made here? Now, this is your rival, and y'all are on the same level. What does this game mean historically when you have a score like a lopsided contest like this in a heated rivalry game?
Let me just say, Coach, I just got to set you up because I want you to talk.
No, I was going to say, you want to pray now or later?
Well, I'm going to pray later because this needs an exorcism. But the score at half was 40-12.
Well, 40-12.
Okay. So I want to, Coach, go ahead. I want to just set that up as you get ready to give a little bit of a breakdown, and for people to understand if they did not get to watch this game, that at the halftime score was 40-12.
I want to work backwards from the post game interview with the head coach of the North Carolina A&T Central Aggies, and they asked him about the camaraderie of the game, and you know what he said? Oh, it's just a game. It's just a game. And Vincent Brown, you being an HBCU man and a SWAT guy, that is the wrong thing to say. And if you don't know, once again, how many coaches win out of 100%, coach?
25%.
25%. Vincent Brown, I gotta say, you're not in that 25% because evidently you don't know the meaning of this game. This is state rivalry game, and you guys are off to another conference, supposed to do some great things. It is not looking good for North Carolina A&T Aggies. It looks like another 1-11 season. Getting this beat. The game was over in the first half.
The game was over in the first quarter.
Right. I can't even imagine how the fans felt, Coach. At halftime, you down 40-12, and it don't even look like you're gonna come back.
Now, I was watching some post-game shows about this game, and for whatever reason, it seems like the prosperity that A&T had in previous years was at the expense of North Carolina Central. And for whatever reason, North Carolina Central people feel that those men who ushered in that prosperity wasn't treated fair. And this is a compounding of that. This is what they wanted to happen to their big brother in the state. Can y'all kind of explain that? What's going on? Because I don't quite understand the dynamic, but there's something about when A&T was winning, they were using North Carolina Central coaches, and then they let them go, and this is what the fallout is.
See, North Carolina Central started off as a Division II program, and they moved up from Division II, and they used to play in the Eagle Classic. I had an opportunity to go visit North Carolina Central when I interviewed for the head job. So that's always been a big game. And it really is kind of like the Tuskegee, Alabama State game, a great Division II playing a Division I school. So it has so much history and there's so much rich in history about it. But to get these type of numbers, is very, very embarrassing in North Carolina A&T. And I'm telling you, and I know you guys know, if North Carolina A&T continue to lose this way, I guarantee you the enrollment will drop. I guarantee you nobody will not go to those football games. And they were screaming about them traveling and money part. They're gonna have a real serious problem in the football program or in the athletic program of money, because believe me, that stadium will not fill up if you continue to go down this road.
Well, that's what's going to hurt the attendance to the football game. I think they've done a great job on the academic side as far as their own. But let's kind of talk about Trey Oliver and what he is building and has built at North Carolina Central. And to understand that this is a big disparity between these two schools as far as size, as far as money, far as just the general feel in the state. Like I say, A&T, we are the big brother. They carry themselves as such and things like that. But Trey Oliver that little brother has gotten to be bigger and better. and not only is he bigger, he talks the talk and walks the walk. And when you have that type of coach that, to your point, Coach, the converse, guess what happens? You get a lot of support from the alumni. They like that. They like when they go in those jobs, they see those guys, those A&T, T-shirts and things like that, and they can say, hey, man, you saw the game this weekend, and them A&T folks go the other way? Hey, man, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. So for me to really see what Trey Oliver has done and to make sure that this team was focused, they understood what the mission was. And again, we talk again, let's talk about Trey Oliver. We had him on the show once again, HBCU Coaches Corner with Johnny Cole. And he got mad at me, and I was giving the man praise all day because I said A&T by accident. I was helping the man raise money. He said, "Oh, hey man, we're gonna get your Escalade stolen." So that I like that a coach understands because he was born an Aggie. I mean, born an Eagle. See, he gonna kill me again. Born an Eagle. Family is an Eagle. So he understands what this rivalry really means. And for me, and again, as somebody who had family going to North Carolina A&T, they are really going to have to look at themselves in the mirror because, like you said, Coach, now what happens is everybody starts losing faith. People don't start believing, and it starts cascading to recruiting. It starts cascading to the players on the field. And then once again, do you want to go through another dark time when you go 1-11? For a proud school institution like North Carolina A&T, and I keep hearing them say, well, we can't fire Mr. Brown. We can't fire him because of the contract. Well, I'm going to tell you this. If you go 1-12 back-to-back, you better figure it out. You better figure it out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get any better for A&T because they play South Carolina State. And I think South Carolina, and that's going to be one of the games we feature, so I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. So it doesn't get any better. That's my point.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Here you go. Here go one right here. We kind of talked about this game. When we brought it up on the other screen. Anything you guys want to add to this and what this means in the overall big picture in HBCU football?
One thing about it, man, that wins championships is great run game and great defense. And right now, Hampton has that going. And that's a key to their success. Nobody didn't think that Hampton would be moving in this direction, but once again, that's in the HBCU realm. Let's see what they're gonna do in their conference. That's what's most important.
So, Coach, let me ask you this: if they beat up on the black schools and can't compete in their own conference, what does that mean to their overall program?
They should go back to the MEAC.
Let me tell you, working at Tennessee State, coaching at Tennessee State, we were in the PWI conference. I'll be honest, I didn't struggle against the black colleges, but it was difficult when we played black college football because of the things that they do. You know what I'm saying? And the athletes that we had at these schools. You know what I'm saying? So when I played in the conference, it was easy. We averaged, 38.5 a game in 98 and 39.1 in 99. But we averaged 45 against our conference. You know what I mean? So it's tougher when we were there, but I don't know. They beat these black schools or HBCU schools. Let's sit back and see if it's Hampton for real.
Well, I'll say this here, Coach, and this is just my opinion. I didn't watch a lot of HBCU football in the 80s and the 90s and in the early 2000s and even in the 2010s. But I do know the guys who went to the NFL in those years. There was a lot in the 80s. There was still some in the 90s. In the early 2000s, there was a few less. And by the teens, and then we went to a point where there were no players being drafted in HBCUs. So there was a talent drain in HBCU football from when you coached in it and 2020 when nobody was drafted. I'll just say this. During that era you played, it probably would be fair to say that the HBCUs at the FCS level could have been more talented than the schools in your conference. Would that be a fair
Without a doubt, Coach. It wasn't even close. I mean, even at Texas Southern, we didn't win, but we had 2 or 3 drafted every year, and then 4 or 5 go free agency. So I mean, we averaged at TSU. We averaged, Coach, at least 6 to 7 players that was going to sign an NFL contract. Within 1980, 88, and 89, and I don't want to get away from what we done. At Texas Southern University, we had 22 kids sign contract. That was the same year that Michael Strahan came out. Our center, Joe Birch, went to the Patriots. Derek Johnson went to the Broncos. Eddie Smith went to Houston Oilers. Will Moore played with the Jaguars. Brian Wiggins, Joe Rogers. All these guys went on the NFL contracts, man. So that statement you made, yeah, that was true. And I just don't think that we do get those athletes anymore. You know, we just got to do a better job of recruiting.
Okay, I'll move on to our next one. Now, this was the upset of the week right here. This was the upset of the week. Considering the win and in the convincing fashion in which Jackson State beat Southern, and they come into this game kind of like, I mean, the Jackson State people were on a high that I can't really describe. And for them to get humbled in this game, I think it was unimaginable for some of their fans. And, I'm kind of anxious to see what's going to be going on, what's going to be said at those mass meetings now, considering they got beat. They didn't get beat by a touchdown. They didn't get beat by a field goal, Coach Campbell. They got beat by 21. What are your Jacksonian brethren saying about the Jackson State Tigers?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go straight old head. I can always tell a Gen Z or millennial when they don't understand the magnitude of what this game was. And majority of these people that are on YouTube and they're millennials, and they don't understand the tradition of what this game really means. And I told everybody, and Coach, I was on here last week. I said, this is a football game. Nobody's going to be talking about the band. Nobody's going to be talking about dancing people or anything. I said, when you play Grambling State University in the hole and Jackson State, it's going to be about football. And I called Scotty, and I told Scotty this. I said, Grambling's going to have some type of throwback uniform, which they did, and I said they'll be up by 14 points going in the fourth quarter. They were up by 15, and they had to throw back because let me tell you something about Grambling when they come in there and they think they got a team. They focus on football. That whole squad was probably talked to from the tradition that when Jackson comes down here, they don't win down here, and we're going to start a new tradition. And what Mickey Joseph did, and the thing about it is with Jackson State, they dominated this game. From the 22 to 20, it was the turnovers, which again, Mickey Joseph and his defensive squad, which people thought it was just, they did 5 against, I think, Texas Commerce. But then guess what? They turned right back around and got the same amount of turnovers against Jackson State. That is coaching, Coach. That means we're trying to be opportunistic. That means we're trying to go at the ball. And I'm going to tell you another thing, too, which I like. I watched this whole game because I was excited about this game, is that it was very obvious that they had studied Jackson State, because when that cornerback broke on that ball, he knew that play. He knew that play, which basically turned the whole game around when he scored a touchdown. So my thing is, for Jackson State people, I'm a big fan of T.C. Taylor. Everybody knows that. I think T.C. Taylor is going to be one of the greatest coaches in Jackson State history. But we have got, and I'm just saying this, he's got Jacoby and Morgan. He's got a talented squad. Sometimes and Coach Saban talked about this, sometimes it's better to play little and then big instead of big than little. I think he sees with the other kid, McCoy, sees big plays. But I like Jacoby Morgan because I see consistency. I see a guy that can keep the train on the track, let those running backs do work, let those big wide receivers go get the ball, and let your defense work. And I think, once again, him rolling that got them off. I think that kid is not ready. And I think Jackson State, I hate saying this because I don't believe it, because people say about FAMU needs to humble themselves, but I think this will be a victory that Jackson State can look at and reset and say, we've got talent, but we need to play in keeping this team on schedule. So again, it's not a conference game, but I think on the Grambling side, I think this is a big builder for them going through the season. because that is a big win for Grambling to beat Jackson State in the manner that they did. And like I said, them going into the State Fair Classic, they could end well, I already said Prairie View season is over, but they could totally end it. And then that will be a conference win that they can get and move forward to go to the SWAC West Championship.
This was a tale of two games. And you just start off, you can't win football games with 5 turnovers. You know what I mean? You just can't do it. And one aspect, because those turnovers, it was shortened game possession. When you look at the time of possession, Grambling had the ball more than Jackson State. Jackson State was moving the ball, but turning it over and giving it back and changing the field and changing momentum. 5 turnovers hurt the momentum of the game, the timing of the game, field position, all that. And you're not going to be able to overcome that. I had an opportunity to speak with Mickey Joseph after the game, and I wish I could talk with TC Taylor, about some of the things that happened, about how the kids was stumping on the G. They really was just adding gasoline to Grambling and gave them really something to play for. And a lot of times, when you focusing and your team is focusing on stupid stuff like stomping the G and spitting on the G and being very disrespectful, these are the type of things that happen. It can tell you that where are they headed? Are they headed in the game, or are they out showboat? And then to get beat the way you got beat, it tells you. And I got to give Coach Taylor, I got to give him a D. He did not have his players prepared. He did not have his players for this big arena. That's some of the things that you don't do. You stay professional. You make sure that your players are focused and concentrating on what is ahead, not worrying about coming out there and trying to disrespect somebody's mascot. And that really, really upset Coach Mickey Joseph. He had a great speech before coming out. He had a great one at halftime. And he said that there's some things that they were doing offensively that Jackson State still ain't figured out yet. So I give Coach Joseph them an A+. They was ready to go. They helped cause some of those turnovers. They held the ball when they needed to hold the ball. And, these are the type of victories. When you look at the stats and take the turnovers over, you'll be like, ain't no way that Grambling beat them like that.
Exactly.
They did. They did. And so my hat going. You had total yards of 271 against 438. 271. 17 first downs by both teams. One had 16, one had 17. I'm sorry. And here's the other kicker. And I almost forgot. Jackson State had 11 penalties, Coach. 11 penalties, 5 turnovers. That's 16 situations that game went against you. They was not ready to play football that day.
Well, Coach, when I saw just about every play of the game. And what I saw was like Jackson State was playing uphill and Grambling State was playing downhill, so to speak. Meaning that it seems like Jackson State could never get on a footing where they could get comfortable in the game and run their stuff. TC Taylor, as a play caller, I think his play calling was brilliant, but I think at the same time, even when the plays work, Coach, sometimes I believe they not the best option for you, even when they do work. For instance, you may have a 10-yard pass that's open and your quarterback may make the right read and throw to the right guy, right? But because there's so much that has to go on right in a passing play, you probably should just hand it off. You know what I mean? Because you got to block, right? The guy has to run the right route, right? And then when you put it on, the quarterback has to make the right throw, and then the guy has to catch the ball. When it's just so much easier to turn around and put it in that guy's belly and let him run through the line of scrimmage, Coach. I think Jackson State has the kind of team that they don't have to do a lot of different stuff to be successful. But TC Taylor had that playbook out this weekend, and I think that playbook in ultimately the brilliant play calling that he made somewhat unraveled the game right in front of him. What do you think? What do you guys think?
What I'm seeing a lot of is everybody is playing. Nobody seems like is sold on their quarterback. Southern, I seen them go to 2 Alabama State 2 or 3, Jackson State 2 or 3 quarterbacks. I'm seeing that, and when you're a quarterback, you got to be able to get in rhythm. And something is not going on when you start. Every team we starting to see in our conference is playing 2 quarterbacks. I just don't believe that works. And this takes me to something. I'm gonna get off course here for a little bit. I actually sit down and seen Shedeur Sanders play, and because I wanted to see what was going on, and every channel come on is he's not being protected. He's not being protected. He's not. His O-line is O-line. No, Shedeur Sanders' issue is Shedeur Sanders. He's not getting rid of the ball on time. He's coming out with where he want to throw the football at. And before I say what I'm saying, he will get drafted. His physical and mental and he got all that. He got one problem. He's a stat quarterback. And offensively, Rocky, if you had to block me all day, and I'm a little man, right? Of course, we talking about difference of big offensive linemen and fast defense end. If I knew, Rocky, that Keisha was going to throw the ball the whole night, I'm just going to use my speed against you, right?
It's a track meet. It's a track meet.
It's a track meet. In the finish line is to the quarterback. So I'm going to run by you. Let's just say they got 70 plays. I'm going to run by you 20 of those plays. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to flush that quarterback out. And what Shedeur Sanders don't do is, and what I used to teach my quarterbacks is, just give me 4 yards. When you hit your back step, if you ain't got your primary and your secondary receiver, use your athletic ability, give me 4 or 5 and sit down. A lot of his sacks is because he's holding the ball. He's looking. I got a friend that scouts for the New York Jets. He's one of the top echelon. And we talked about that. And me and him said the same thing. And I even gave him a tidbit. I said, his problem ain't physical. His problem ain't mental. His problem is stats. He want to throw for all these yards. And so now I'm going to move over to the coordinators. See, this is an egotistical business. I told you guys that. And these coordinators want to put up numbers. Coach, the reason what made me good, I wanted to put up wins. So that's more important to me. And just like you were saying, Rocky, he opened up his playbook. Sometimes you can confuse your players. I've been in my experience where I put in too much. And I had to say, whoa, because we out there fumbling and bumbling and the quarterback thinking what he's got to do and all that kind of stuff. And the quarterback handles the ball 100% of the time. That's why I don't understand why we keep make a decision. Make a decision on one of these guys and go with it. But you can't be putting in new plays and jazzing it up and zip jam. And I seen some on Sunday that and coach, guys, I'm telling you too, some of the best plays are stolen plays. So it ain't bad looking at a game on Saturday and pick that play up. But it has to be able to fit in your system. And if it don't sit in your system, then now you going back to point B. So I don't want to take up a lot of time, but some of it is the coordinator, some of it is the quarterback. I just don't believe that it's always the offensive line.
I want to say this, Coach, and this is just to to Jackson State faithful, and this is, like I said, I'm not a coach. I just don't watch a ton of football. If you guys would just run the football and let Ed Mulligan and let Ahmad Miller and Turl determine who's going to win the game, you guys will be all right. It's not your quarterback. That's the problem. It's not your quarterback. You look at the stats, and the stats look basically identical from both quarterbacks. You threw the ball for a couple hundred yards. You don't have a problem passing the ball with either quarterback. The problem is you ran the ball for 159 yards, averaging 5 yards a carry, but you only ran it, 29 times? You should have ran it 60. And that'll kept those interceptions off the field. That'll kept those offensive holdings out the game. That would have kept all just run. What did that lady say on the blind side? Just run the damn ball. Again, just run the ball, TC. You can use all those plays, especially in a game against Grambling where you didn't need to run the ball. Here's another point I want to make. There's nothing even wrong with your defense, Grambling. Jackson State. There's nothing wrong with your defense. People are going to get plays on you. Your defense is fine. They ran the ball 39 times for 89 yards. There's nothing wrong with your defense.
Coach, looking at these stats, Crowley, who's tagged as the best quarterback in the conference, only threw for 189 yards. I don't even think he got 600 yards in 4 games, does he, Coach?
Oh, yeah, he got 300 something on that one game, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And who they play? Okay.
No,
I think they played
Tuskegee.
Yeah,
Tuskegee.
And then they rushed for 104 yards. They did not win the offensive battle that day. Grambling did.
They won the turnover battle.
They won the turnover battle. They won the defensive battle. And I'm saying that this, coordinators, if y'all listening to me, listen to old Coach Cole. Man, you got to run and do stuff to make you win. Manage the game. Know what's going on. If I'm running the ball, I'm running the hell out of the ball, and there's a play that they just can't stop, Rocky, I'm going to run that play, and you're going to see that play out of 7, 8, 9, 13 different formations, Coach Campbell. And we're going to keep getting to that play, and we're going to keep running until they stop.
I want to ask Coach Campbell this question. Why do you think they came out with a dominant passing attack with that quarterback? Because it didn't make any sense to me, but maybe you understand.
Well, this is the thing, and I asked Coach Cole, we talked about this. There is something that is happening in practice that McCoy does that I think excites TC Taylor. I think there are things that he might make plays in practice that Jacobian can't make, that he says, you know what, this gives us an explosive potential. Again, talked about Coach Taylor, big versus little. He does a lot of big plays. But I'm going to give Coach Taylor the blueprint for this team. FAMU 2021, where you had Rashawn McKay, Xavier Smith, and Bishop Bonnet. We're talking about Willie Simmons now. And no disrespect to TC, but he's not the offensive guru that Willie Simmons is. And Coach Simmons realized that I have a limited quarterback, but I got 2 playmakers, Bishop Bonnet and Xavier Smith. And you know what we did the whole year? We threw every pass literally to Xavier Smith, or we ran the ball with Bishop Bonnet. And we lost to Jackson State 7-6. That's the only game that we lost in the regular season.
Been talking to some people about these 2 kids. One is a running quarterback and one is a passing quarterback. And Grambling was really, really scared of the passing quarterback. They said the kid can throw the ball really well. This is one of the things, guys, and this is nothing towards TC. And I'm saying this in general as being a head coach and an offensive coordinator. And that's why I don't like quarterbacks that just run the football. But I do like athletic quarterbacks that can extend plays. And sometimes you would get back and you will see a kid step back and the pass and then he scramble all around the damn field for 50 yards both ways and then score. And everybody jumping. Oh man, that dude is awesome. But then as a coordinator, you go back and you're supposed to go back and watch the film, and then you see, oh, he missed his primary receiver, he missed his secondary receiver. You know, he didn't scoot up in the pocket. Yeah, he athletic to everybody, but you're playing a team that's sister of the blind. So when you let him go and you don't coach him up, and then he comes to play a Gremlin, that ain't happening. My coach when I was played quarterback, if I dropped back on third down and long and I took off running right away, he would get mad as hell at me. He would say, "What do you think they want you to do?" You know what I mean? They want you to take off and run so they can tackle you, and then now it's fourth down. Go through your progressions and you go through and see where the long route, because we would call a third and long passing route. And you had two options. And your third option was to get down. If you ran, but you didn't come back and take off and start running. You know, you sitting there, you're sitting there, and you either threw the ball away or you went and got 4 or 5, and then you understood. So I say all that to say, man, you got to coach them up, Coach Campbell. You got to coach these kids up. You can coach every play. Every play. Even when the kid do good, make a hell of a catch, make a hell of a run, there's some coaching that needs to be going on to that kid. Go ahead, Coach.
You know, I understand when people say Jacoby Morgan makes the routine throws look easy. Yeah, I think 10 yards in, he makes those throws look easy, right? But what I see with my eyes is this. When he throws it a little further down the field, 20 yards, 30 yards over the top, he misses bad. And I mean, he misses really bad. So even though he has the better arm, he's a better short to intermediate passer, right? But my point is, if you just gonna pass it 5 yards, won't you just turn around and give it to Miller or Mulligan? That's
but Rocket, but that's not the problem. The problem has been the games that they have not started him where he could just consistently play. And this goes back to my point about the FAMU, Rashawn McKay. Everybody remembers game manager. That used to be my thing. Every weekend I would talk to Scotty. Game manager of the year, because Rashawn McKay would just make plays. And it wasn't no 30-yard bombs. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to know what your team is. And I know we want these big plays and things like that. But again, there's nothing wrong with that 10-yard completion. Because guess what? That's a first down. That's a first down. Nothing wrong with that 5-yard complete because that keeps you on schedule. So then those running backs that are super explosive, and I mean those guys are explosive. So again, my thing is Morgan for this team. He needs to, because I think also it hurts him because I think when you go to this other kid, because again, and like I said, I hate to criticize because I'm not a coach. Coach Cole is the coach on here, and I hate doing this because Coach he's seeing something in practice. He's not a dummy. But again, it goes back to the point is sometimes when you've got somebody, it's like this. A lot of guys want a girl that looks like a 10, but she acts like a 5. But sometimes it's better to have an 8 that acts like a 10. She looks like an 8, but she acts like a 10. So get the okay-looking girl that treats you good. So that's always better than the good-looking girl that treats you bad. And I think that's what he's kind of going. That McCoy, he looks good. But with this type of team that you have that plays good, sound defense, that can stop the running game, and you got running backs, and especially because there's no dominant team in this conference this year. There's no super team. So Jackson State, all they need to do is be in the game because what Jackson State does not have the ability to do is to come back because their quarterback is not coming back. Daniel Richardson can come back because you can say, hey, you know what? I need you to go 80 yards, 80 yards, 80 yards just on passing. These two quarterbacks can't do it. So what do? You play good fundamental defense. You run the ball and you make plays and keep the team on schedule. And my thing is, once again, I hate to say it, but this is a game that you learn from because it's not a conference game and they'll learn from it. So that's my last thing on this.
And my last point on this is looking at Grambling. Grambling, with winning this game right here, if they win their next 2 games, they can literally wrap up conference and cruise to the finish line. I'm not saying they're going to host the SWAC championship, but the only other challenging game I see on their schedule after Alcorn is Texas Southern, maybe. We still have to see what they are. And I don't know how good Alabama State is working with a 4th-team quarterback. So that's what they'll have on their schedule.
Is Alabama State a counter?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
see, but you, Coach, I guarantee you, if Grambling beat Prairie View and beat Alcorn State, we might as well start writing them as West Division Championship. And because it all depends on what Texas Southern do. Hello, is Texas Southern for real?
We'll find out this week because this one counts.
Yes. We'll see if Texas Southern is for real. If they ain't for real, if they get beat by 3 or 4 touchdowns, then we know they're not for real. Then you might as well start. They might as well load the trophy up and put some foam around it and send it up to Grambling, Louisiana, because that's how this is. You know, and you know we got to see what Southern's gonna do. You know what I mean? They got an opportunity to try to turn their season around, but they can't lose no more.
Coach, I just think Southern has they have the Jackson State game doesn't count, does it?
No, it doesn't.
But they got three games in a row. They got Texas Southern, they got Alcorn, and they got Florida A&M. 3 games in a row.
See, the problem is I don't think so. Here's my issue. The game that's really going to decide it, in my opinion, is the fact that Grambling does not have to play Florida A&M.
Right.
So
that's going to be a loss on everybody's schedule.
Yes, and even if they go, because Grambling conceivably could walk into that Bayou Classic undefeated in the SWAC.
On their side.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Jackson State, but who moving forward is a sure enough loss for them. I think they're going to be favored in every game they play in the SWAC to the end of the season.
They got Prairie View, they got Alcorn struggling, Pine Bluff, Texas Southern, Bethune-Cookman. Alabama State is struggling like hell. Alabama A&M. Coach, you right. You right, Coach. You right. They can tiptoe like a girl was running on the yellow brick road.
Now the downside on that schedule is they could win every game and end up at the end of the season not truly knowing who they are. You understand me? What I'm saying? Because I think absolutely. Yeah. So that's just so let's talk about this.
But you know some guys, that would be sweet. Grambling and Florida A&M, because they don't play each other in the regular season. That would be sweet in the SWAC championship game.
It'd be a big game.
Yeah, I would actually go see that game. But we'll see, man. This thing we didn't know Body was gonna get hurt, injuries gonna start, what type of weight program you have, all that's going to start playing in a row. I had a production meeting at HBCU Go with Allen and Miles, and it's some kids are getting hurt, kids are coming back from being hurt. So it's a revolving door, and we're getting in the thick of football season.
Oh yeah, and okay. Now this game right here, I was able to go back. I was going back and forth in between this game and this game was. This was a terrible watch, by the way. I just want y'all to know that. This was a terrible watch.
Yeah, it was, Coach.
I don't know what to think of this game. I definitely can't say that either team is any good, because of the way that each team played. And then considering how Southern played against Jackson State, I just don't know what to think of this game. So, Prairie View may just be a really bad team playing another really bad team. But, I'll let you guys, maybe you guys got better understanding what happened on Saturday night than I did.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to talk with Coach McDowell, and I don't want to share it on our show because I got the ultimate respect for him, of being able to share some ideas. Because one thing about Coach Bubba McDowell and Coach Eddie Robinson, those guys are scholars. They take good advice. They go and try to find the answers to it. But he's got to make some adjustments over there. They got the people, but he's got to make some adjustments with him and his staff. And I want to send a thanks out to him because he came on our show at Media Day and spoke with us. And they got to do some internal stuff there at Prairie View A&M. There's no way that they should be sitting at 1-3 right now. And so he's got to make some adjustments. He's got to make them quick. But as we say, that it's going to be tough for him to be playing, post-game games unless a whole bunch of stuff happens. And Bishop Campbell, it can happen. Because as you say, ain't nobody just really kicking ass over on that side of the ball. So those are some things that he's got to make some adjustments. I watched the game. Prairie View led the whole game except but at the end, I seen a lot of things that was going on. It was just like, I don't know, Rocky, what it was like just people just there and calling plays, and wasn't nobody really making no big decisions on, what plays, if it's second and short. On second and short, what plays, I shouldn't ask y'all, on second and short, you run several plays. You take a shot downfield, okay? You run some type of bootleg, you run some type of go route, hitch and go, because it's second and short. I just didn't see none of that. It just gave me a damn headache watching that. So Prairie View can stir up some and hope that the rest of the teams lose football games. But right now they out of it.
Well, I watched this game, and I'm going to kind of talk about the stats. But first of all, Prairie View has played 4 games. They have not played one good game yet. And the thing about this, not one game could they say, you know what, this is a game that shows our potential. And for a team that had visions of being a SWAC champion, this team is not a SWAC championship team. In no shape, form, or fashion. Not at quarterback, not at running back. Savage is a great wide receiver. He might make all conference, not on defense. And that is really what's disappointing me about this team, because I picked this team to win the West.
Get the ball to Savage.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the quarterback. So again, Cameron Peters, who looks like they settled on as the quarterback, went for 9 for 20 for 193 yards, 2 TDs. And what really hurt them, they only ran, and again, no need to give any running back stats because Peters had 37 yards. That was the most, but they ran 54 times, only had 109 yards. That means a 2-yard average. A 2-yard average. So that right there, this game, they led the game going into half, and then you could just see Southern being opportunistic in this game, making stops and executing. Noah Biden once again went for 16 for 29 for 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a big play up throw off the back foot to get a 2-point conversion, which basically pushed them into overtime. So again, making some plays there. They ran for 191 yards. The running game kind of got going. Kobe Dillon went for 77 yards. So Southern kind of started to show a little bit of something. Again, not sold on Southern either. But again, when you looked at these two teams, you saw the confidence of Southern saying that, you know what, We don't lose down here at Prairie View. And this kind of goes back to the Jack State Grambling game. When you have that in your team and that DNA said that we don't lose, you start playing with confidence. In the fourth quarter, Southern started playing with confidence, and that's the reason why they won this game.
I tend to agree with you. But even in this game, this is just me. I saw Southern had a lack of commitment to the running game, even when they were having a lot of success. Like, they have a good run, and next thing you know, they drop back trying to hit a pass. Now, Noah Bodden played pretty well, and I don't think that Prairie View had much of, put up much of a rush. That's the other thing. Prairie View's defense is worse than it was last year in some ways, in my opinion.
This team is not improved. This team, I'm telling you, this is a bad 1-3 team. It's not a good team. It's not a good team. Not for the talent, or not for the expectation level that they have, because the talent was a guess.
Let me say this, Coach. You got a kid like Samar Savage, and he catches 2 football games, two catches, and you don't have nothing to go to him. Nothing to go to him. And look, and I'm listening to the announcers. That's all they're talking about is Savage.
Kid's a player.
And you don't go to him? Coach, that's offensive coordinator 101.
Coach, they don't run a reverse. Coach, they don't run a what they call it, a jet sweep. They don't want a reverse. They don't do none of that, Coach.
None of that. No tunnel screen to Savage to put the ball in his hand. You can't even throw a 3-step drop to Savage and let him break some tackles. Coach, they might not have Savage. What year is he? I mean, we need to find out what year is he. They might not have him.
He's a senior, Coach. Senior.
Oh, okay. He's one hot young man. He's one hot. There's no way that the number 1 wide receiver in the SWAC. Can I say that?
Yep. I mean, he's one of the best. He's probably the most explosive for sure.
And he gets 2 passes.
Now
you ain't trying to win. You ain't trying to win now.
Let me ask you this here, Coach, and I'll get you guys' impression of it. It seems to me that the quarterback, though he's a good player, he plays a lot of hero ball. Now, that's what it looks like to me. What do you guys see?
Well, Coach, like I say, Coach McDowell talked about this the other week about the quarterback just making the correct play. And he kind of talked about that a little bit again. So again, and Coach Cole talked about this. What are we doing to put the quarterback and the plays that we're calling to make him successful? What are we doing to get him, hey, we're getting our balls to the playmakers. What are we doing? We're running the ball. Where are we showing our strength? And I think the inconsistency, and this goes, because they talked about Coach Whedon. This was the way we brought in a new offensive coordinator. We're going to be, multiple. We're going to be more consistent. And Coach Whedon has, I'm sorry, you have not seen what I think they were sold. And again, this is just watching the game. And again, we're talking about a team. See, and I'm Prairie View got to understand this. And this goes, if the coaches are watching, you are held to a championship expectation. This was your fans believing Celebration Bowl or bust. Now, I might not believe it, but they believed it. So again, when you're talking about a quarterback that is not throwing the ball, not getting the ball established, these are things that people are looking at.
Hey, Coach, neither team was raising no hell offensively, and this reason why. Prairie View had 7 punts. Southern had 6. Neither one of them teams was raising no hell.
They're not good. They're not good. Neither one of these teams are good offensively. And they've shown that all year. Neither one of these teams are good offensively.
Well, like I said, man, you got to be able to put your players in successful situations. What we've seen in some of these games, you got to be able to have your kids ready to play. That's your job as a coach. It's an egotistical business, but you got to be real with yourself. It's a lot of things that I see that goes on, this 2 quarterback situation. I see a lot of that these days. You got to just make a decision which guy you're going to go with. and at least let him go through 1-2 games or 1.5 games as a starter and see that he get it. I'm always a former leader that the first thing, if my offense is not working, Rocky and Coach Campbell, I look at the man in the mirror. What am I doing? And I think you said it earlier, Campbell. What can I do to make this kid successful? What is he good at? What is he bad at? And then that's the thing that I call my offense around. And the kids that can make some plays, Rocky, those are kids don't touch that football. That's what you're supposed to do. And I really, as an older coach, when I'm looking at the conference, I'm very disappointed in seeing the offensive play of what's going on. Whether of course, whether they care or not, but we better than this, and we should be able to get better than this.
But my last question is, and I'll just put this to you, Coach. When you go into the season, Southern, they had a quarterback competition somewhat. They settled on the guy T-Set as the guy. He gets hurt in the Jackson State game, and he's not able to suit up against against Prairie View. Do you go back to T-Set after Noah Biden wins your football game?
I really would have to be in the situation to be honest about, because he wasn't the starter, the kid that had to sit out. He was not the starter. Bottom has always been the starter, except but he stalled, and then this kid came in and did some things, and all of a sudden then he became the starter. So we probably need to start from that there. I think Bottom should have been the starter all along. I mean, hell, he got a coach fired, didn't he? Is it safe to say that?
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that, Bishop Campbell? So he come back this year, didn't have no issue, and so the team is yours. And so I think he started in the Bayou Classic. Am I correct?
Yes.
So when he come in this fall, this is my guy. You know what I mean? He's my guy. We're going to ride and die with him till we can't no more. So I think we're creating more issues and more problems than actually what's really going on with this football team.
And we'll have to go into this in great detail maybe at another step. Is it easier just to switch a quarterback rather than develop one? And so I'll just leave that right there, and we could go into that question a little later. I mean, later on
I'll just tell
in the year.
It's easy to switch it than to develop. It's easy to switch because developing, you got growing pain. You want to grow with it, right? But if you don't want to grow with him, then you switch it. Because guys, a quarterback handles the ball 100% of the time of the game. He's gonna make some mistakes. Ain't nobody perfect. So you got to live with it. Then as he come over to the sideline, he has to give me football answers. He can't give me selfish answers. Like, oh, coach, he didn't run the right route, or oh, he didn't catch the ball. I want to hear, hey, coach, hey, look, they was in cover 3. I was watching strong safety. When he broke, he made a good play on me. The dig came behind me, had me, and I wasn't able to get the ball to him. You know what I'm saying? So when you're talking to your kids, they got to be able to talk to you football terms, not selfish terms, especially when you play the quarterback position. But let's go, coach. We ready to rock?
Man, we got it's a short slate this week, guys. It's not because there's a lot of conference games. We don't have as many individual games, so we can get through this here and get to bed. Now, we'll go with Prairie View and Grambling first. We'll start it off with the State Fair Classic. This is a big game for both programs. In my opinion, Grambling is at a point where if they can win this game, they set themselves up to win the West. However,
Go ahead.
and Prairie View beats them in this game, you know, the West becomes wide open. So I'm gonna take Prairie View in this game. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. I can't count on Grambling getting 6 turnovers again in order to win the game. I'm gonna take Prairie View in this one.
Can I tell you, boy, you're coaching. You're coaching, Ron. I'm rubbing off on you, baby. I get it. You're right. Because they only won that game because they had 5 turnovers. You can't win no game less than 300 yards, Coach Campbell. You know what I'm saying? But 5 turnovers will help you get there. You want me to go? I guess because I'm talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Grambling State. I'm gonna go with Mickey Joseph. He's on the right track. He's got the kids going in the right direction. He's saying the right things. And they playing at Grambling. Prairie View's gonna have to have. Oh, I'm sorry. They play in Dallas. Prairie View is going to have a lot.
Still playing at Grambling, based off the record. They're still playing at Grambling.
Right. They going to have a lot of good things happening. Now they're sitting at 0-3. I mean, 1-3. They know winning the SWAC West is far from none by losing to Texas Southern. They got to have a lot of good things happening in that game for them to be up. They'll be up, hype, playing in Cotton Bowl, rah, 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 rah. If some things go wrong, Grambling wins the football game.
Listen, I tell people Grambling is one of my favorite schools. I love Grambling. I was a big supporter of Prairie View, but I'm sorry, I had to jump off that Prairie View bandwagon after last weekend. And I'm about to. I got a lot of Grambling gear in my closet, and I can go pull out some G-Man stuff right now. Hey man, listen, I'm sorry. When
I see them, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Coach, but you are right. You sure right. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but again, even though Grambling might not get 5 turnovers, they know how to try to play to get turnovers, and that's what I like about their defense. See, this is something that Coach Joseph clearly and that defensive staff is starting to ingrain on these guys. And again, what I just have not seen with Prairie View at 4 games I don't trust them. That's my thing. And the problem is, Coach, and you know this, and I've said this, that championship death march is real. The pressure's real. Everybody feels it. Everybody's telling you what you got to do. And I think Prairie View is under, as they say, crumbling under the weight of expectations. I think Grambling, to your point, has gotten a free pass. And I think they've gotten that big win against Jackson. And like they say, people look at the schedule and they say, you know what? We win this game, that puts us right on schedule. We win the next game, puts us right on schedule. So I'm saying, I think Grambling comes in with a lot of confidence. I think the game is close. I think this game will be another one like Southern, but I think the G-Men are going to pull out in Dallas once again.
Wow. There you go.
All right, we're going to go over to Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman.
Coach, I'll go first. I'll go first on this one, Coach, because I'll let you talk a little bit more because you saw that. Listen, this is you want to talk about a must-win game for both programs, and one for Alabama State if they want to have any hope. Because, like I said, this is their first time in SWAC play, so this is a SWAC game. But if they lose this game, again, they play FAMU next, then their season could be over with. I believe their season over with because they're not like quarterback. The next thing is Bethune-Cookman is 0-4. This is the same thing. A level of expectation. You lose this game, you're 0-5. So the pressure for them to win this game after having, that was a devastating loss to Clark. A devastating loss. So for me, I don't think Alabama State has a quarterback. I think Bethune-Cookman, because down there on the beach, I think they get their first win. I think their quarterback, again, keeps the momentum going. And like I said, I think they come out. I think the score is going to be low, but I got Bethune-Cookman 21-17.
I'm just going to take Bethune-Cookman on this one, guys. I just think Alabama State playing with a third or fourth string quarterback they're not going to get it done against. And I think Bethune-Cookman has played good defense and they are talented. So I think, they'll get off the snide and they'll beat Alabama State. Now, for Alabama State. If they lose this game, any hopes of a SWAC championship is over with. So, but I think it's over with when Andrew Body went down with a season-ending shoulder injury. So I'll take Bethune-Cookman on this one. Who do you got, Coach?
I'm gonna go Alabama State. You can't turn around and lose to a Division II team and then beat Alabama State. Alabama State is good in the special team. They're good on defense. They'll be able to run the ball efficiently. They will get O'Brien back. O'Brien will come back, the other kid at quarterback. So they'll get another experienced quarterback that really knows the offense. Things got to go great for Bethune because they'll get down. I thought home field advantage would be an advantage, but they let a Division II team come into Daytona Beach and beat them. I think Alabama's defense is way better than Clark. Way better than Clark. And I know Alabama State without, a guy that it'll make things tough. But I'm going to go with Alabama State. Close one, 17-10. But I got to go with the Hornets.
I've seen both of these quarterbacks play in person. I've seen O'Brien play in person, and I've seen David Wright practice. There's no comparison.
No,
there won't be.
Look, I have no argument about that, but please don't put O'Brien and David Wright in the same sentence.
All right, Coach. We'll go down to we could do Delaware and Campbell right now. Delaware State.
Campbell by 50.
I'll take Campbell as well. What about you, Steve?
Delaware State came back down to earth last week. I think Campbell wins this game.
Big.
So, all right. Norfolk coming off a big win against NCCU, though. That's the problem. Now, NCCU gets a chance to cement their dominance in the region and in the MEAC. And I got to take NCCU.
Now, here's the thing that's going to be interesting about this game is that Norfolk's all-conference quarterback should be back for this game. So do they make a quarterback change, bring him in, let him play? So, again, I believe Central will win this game by 2 touchdowns, easy, maybe 3. But that is a factor that I want to see what Norfolk State can do with that quarterback. Are they going to let him play?
Here's the issue. North Carolina Central, you're not going to run the ball on North Carolina Central. You're not going to do it.
They're not going to let you.
Exactly. They're not Alabama State. They're not those other schools that Norfolk play. They better defense than Florida A&M. I got North Carolina Central like you, Coach Campbell, big. I don't think it'll be a runaway because Norfolk is going to run the ball and going to kill the clock. But I do got North Carolina Central by 2 touchdowns.
All right. Did you pick that one, Campbell?
Yeah. Give me Central.
All right. We all got Central. All right. Over in the SWAC, we got the Battle of the Mississippi, I guess.
Is that the toilet bowl?
I don't know. I think we still don't know how good Alcorn is. I think we're assuming that they played the same McNeese team that Southern played, but I got a feeling that they played a different McNeese team. And so, but we'll see. We'll see. But if they get beat by Valley,
or
if it's a struggle, Campbell. If it's a struggle.
It could be a struggle. Alcorn's going to win this game. I mean, like I said, Valley has almost literally the same record versus Alcorn they have against Jack State. They don't beat Alcorn often. Alcorn's going to win this game. Alcorn is going to let this game reset their season, and then they'll go forward. But again, I'm not sold on Alcorn. I think they're in the same boat with Prairie View. I think there's a lot of championship expectations. I think that's overwhelming them. But Alcorn in this game.
I got Alcorn too. What about you, Coach?
Alcorn is moving the ball around, and what I'm finding is these teams are short on red zone offense. they go from 20 to 20, but when they get inside, they come up short. Definitely, I got Alcorn State. I mean, Mississippi Valley, with my reaching out to people who know what they're doing, and they're going out and getting a whole bunch of high school kids. You're not going to win an FCS built on high school kids. And you're not going to be around long enough to see them develop. So I got Alcorn. I got Alcorn big, by 3 touchdowns, 21-0, or 3 touchdowns.
Okay. All right. Y'all see what the last one we got left is one of the marquee games of this week, if not the marquee game of this week. We got Texas Southern, who's 1-0 in conference, and Jackson State. This will be officially their first conference game. I got Jackson State. I just believe my eyes they're not lying to me. I see Jackson State, and I see a really good FCS football team, and I have to believe they can beat Texas Southern. But if they don't beat Texas Southern, it's going to be a long season in the Jack.
Coach, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The game's down in Houston. And I'll tell you that Texas Southern has played the hardest schedule between the two teams. To be honest with you, they played the hardest schedule. They played a better talented team. Lamar was supposed to be a top 25 team. They were right there in the game. They played Rice. But I'm sorry, Jackson State should win this game. Jackson State just historically does not lose games to teams like Texas Southern. And I think, again, tradition does mean something. I think TC Taylor's going to reset this squad. I think they're going to refocus because I think of some of these players. We're hearing a lot of the chirping from a lot of the crowd noise that this is a great super team. And I think they realize this is a good team. But for them to be great, that they're going to have to focus. So Jackson State, like I said, they go down to Houston. I think Texas Southern keeps it close the first half. I think Jackson State then just blows them out.
I got a question for you, Steve, after Coach Campbell makes his pick.
You mean Coach Cole?
Coach Cole, I'm sorry, Coach
Yeah,
Cole.
don't worry about it.
I've got Jackson State. I've got Jackson State by 2 touchdowns. I think they pull out in the end.
TSU, I love you. I gotta say that, because
Absolutely.
Yeah, pull them now. Jackson State should win. TC Taylor offensive ain't done nothing wrong. Just gotta cut out the turnovers. The turnovers and the penalties. That's what's wrong with Jackson State. I hope they don't get caught up on going to Houston. Maybe they got caught up on going to Grambling or didn't sleep good at night or something. Those are 2 aspects. Improving the turnover game, improving the penalty game. They moving the ball, Rocky. They moving the ball. They just not getting in the end zone, and that's a lack of concentration. That's a coach. And I got to tell TC, and I'll text him tonight, you need to get them kids straight. You need to get them focused. You know what I'm saying? And I think maybe the loss that they had before has carried on, and he's got to get a hold of those teams. I got Jackson State over Texas Southern 24-7.
All right, Steve, my question is, can I expect the Jackson State faithful to travel better than they did to Grambling?
Well, here's the thing. I was shocked. I mean, I looked at the crowd. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Well, but I thought it'd be more people from Jackson. I mean, it's a short drive. I mean, it's again, this is the thing I keep telling. Jackson can literally get to every place and turn right back around and be at home at night. So usually what the old saying was the daddy drives to the game and goes to sleep drunk from the game, and the mama drives home. That's the way it used to be. So So with that being said, Jackson has a huge fan base in Houston. I think they'll turn out. I think it'll be a well-attended game. So again, I don't think the crowd is going to be, we got a loud crowd is going to, because there's very few SWAC games that the crowd just really disrupts offenses or defenses. I think this is once again The question is, can Texas Southern muster up enough offense? Because if Jackson State gets 24 points, that's all they're going to need. Because I don't even think Texas Southern, when they played Southern, how many did they score? I mean, when they played Prairie View, how many did they score?
Yeah, they average 17 points a game.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. They're not even averaging 20 points a game. So Jackson State gets 24 points. I think that's enough for them to win this game. So I think Jackson State, it'll be a nice crowd. I don't know if the Boom is traveling all the way to Houston. They may or may not, but it doesn't matter. I think Jackson State doesn't need the Boom to be down there to win this game.
Yeah, Texas Southern got to get better in the third down area. They average at 32%. You want to be at 40. They 33% on fourth down. There's a lot of things that they got to get good and better at. But I like what Coach is doing down there, and really it's going to be a telltale of what type of season they're going to have.
Hey, this is the best of the rest. We got Morgan State and Stony Brook. I'm gonna take Morgan State in this one.
Yeah, Morgan.
Stony Brook.
Okay. What about Charleston Southern and Tennessee State? I'm gonna take Charleston Southern. I don't have much belief in Tennessee State.
Charleston Southern.
This game is at Tennessee State. Charleston Southern is 1-2. This is a conference game. Again, Eddie George just hasn't won these type of games. I think they got a better team, though. This is one of those games. I don't know why I was just kind of looking at this game. So I kind of wanted to know what Tennessee State was going to track. So again, they're playing the game at home, Charleston Southern. But again, I think Charleston Southern will probably pull that out.
All right. Then we'll go to Howard and Princeton. I was hoping last year that Howard would put up a good fight when they played Harvard. I think it was Harvard they played last year, and they got demolished against Harvard. And I thought they had a Celebration Bowl caliber team. So I got to take Princeton. I think it's a step up in competition for Howard, and I don't expect them to handle it any better than they did last year.
Yeah, give me those Princeton Tigers, because the one thing them white boys are not going to do is make any mistakes.
Yeah.
That is the cliche of a smart team. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I think they're going to execute, and unfortunately, I think they're just going to beat Howard. But once again, when you're playing these type of games, and Coach Cole talked about it, it's about execution. So if Howard can run the ball and use their size and get at that quarterback, then we'll see. But now I got to go Princeton.
Texas Southern is not ready yet. They averaging right at 24 points where you want to be at. Total touchdowns 12, first downs. They're not where they need to be at. I think being in the program for 4 years. When I was at Tennessee State, and we were going in on our fourth year. Like I said, we were averaging 38 points a game. And we were moving the ball, and we were showing a whole bunch of progress. I don't think they're doing that here at Tennessee State. I think they're still in the middle of the road. They're still trying to find themselves. Now it's the bread and butter games. I'm gonna take Charleston Southern 24 or 21-14.
I see, Coach. You were still deep diving into that Tennessee State game. We moved on to the Howard game. Howard and Princeton. Coach, we both took Princeton. Who you got?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm taking Princeton.
Okay. Hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Princeton.
And the last one of the night. This is now. Y'all gonna have to talk about the rivalry on this one. I've seen both of these teams play. There's no doubt in my mind who's the better team. South Carolina State is the better team. But I'll take you guys' information of what this game means from an HBCU standpoint, and then give me your picks.
I'll go first, Coach. I'll let you talk more about the history and the coaching side of it. But listen, the rivalry doesn't mean anything in this game because South Carolina State is just a better team. So while it might sound good for the fans, hey, we the border war and all that stuff like that, South Carolina State is just a better team. They got the better quarterback, they got the better offensive line, they got the better defense, and they got the better coach, clearly. I think this South Carolina goes big. I think I think Tennis Bear calls his boy Trey Oliver and say, "Hey man, what did y'all do? We gonna do it better." So I'm telling you something. I think A&T needs to be worried because I think they're not gonna score 66, but I think they're gonna get up to 40.
Yeah. Well, Tennis Bear being an offensive line coach, he ain't gonna ever score 60. If he ever scores 60, they playing against the nuns.
Well, bad as A&T look, they might be the nuns.
Hey, coach, South Carolina State all over this, man. He gonna get 49. He'll get 7 touchdowns, coach. He's gonna punish North Carolina A&T. He's gonna embarrass them. Coach Tennis Bear is serious about what he's trying to do. And what's the percentage of coaches? Coach, the 25%. What do?
They win.
They win. And Tennis Bear is in that 25%.
All right, Coach. Hey, man, this has been another great show. Another marathon. Hey, anybody who's just catching us now, I suggest you go to the very beginning and catch the exclusive interview we had with Florida A&M's 19th Director of Athletics, Angela Suggs. Man, it was a great interview. I see why the Rattlers are so happy with the choice that President Beard made. And man, this has been another great show, man. I want to thank you guys for jumping on. We got another show tomorrow that we're going to have for you guys. We got 2 coaches that are coming on from Allen and what is the other coach from?
Miles Collins.
Yeah, it's Coach Pearl and Coach Shade.
Yeah.
So I look forward to interviewing those guys. So y'all jump on with us at 8:00 tomorrow, and we'll have it ready for you. But with no further ado, I'll let you go, Campbell, and say your party shots, and then of course you're gonna have you can turn it over to Coach Cole and let him take us out.
Well, I'm gonna go back to AD Angela Adams Suggs, and this shows once again the greatness of an HBCU education. You're talking about somebody that started at FAMU and now has returned to FAMU. Why? Because of Florida A&M education. So I'll say this to anybody that has a child or anybody that is at a HBCU, never doubt the education that you have, because all the HBCUs do the most with the least and always turns into greatness. Because you know what? Maybe you turn into an AD like Angela Suggs.
Well, Coach, that was great. I believe in hiring your own. And I think at the HBCU level, we don't do enough of that. I think we need to hire more presidents with HBCU background. I think we need to make sure that presidents, when they do come in there, make it a market to make sure that if I graduated from this school, I can come back. I think most programs in this country does that. I think it's something that you do because they got skin in the game. Again, I can't say enough about working with Rocky and working with Coach Bishop and the fan base that we have. We're going to continue to grow it. And, we're moving forward in our program. And make sure you subscribe to our program. Make sure you give us a little tip change. We're not asking for a lot because we want to do a lot of things to bring this program into your living room. I try to get out, and as we brought Al Wash from big time, and the only promoter right now, and I'm sorry, Fred up in Tennessee, is promoting Black college football games. We want to bring these people into your living room. I'll be on the HBCU Go this weekend. Tomorrow, we will bring in Coach Cedric Pearl, Coach Shade from Sam Shade from Miles College. They'll be right here on this show to let you know how great of coaches they are. I'll continue in my mission. I love blackness. I love HBCU sports. I love to bring this energy to you guys. And the only one who'll take care of us is us. So, as always, when you feel yourself at the end of the rope, tie a knot and hold on tight. because ain't nobody bad like you.